OBS Streamlabs completely wiped all of my layouts out of existence. And the same thing that wiped out everything happened again. So I was panicking like, oh no, please tell me that this bullcrap is not happening again and I lose all of my layouts again. Thankfully, that didn't happen. So thankfully, all of my layouts still exist. Because I was going to say, if all of my layouts immediately get wiped out of existence again, then we're just canceling stream if that happens again. Because like, thankfully this time I kept the pixel calculation measurement, so I know exactly what every cropping and all the placements all need to be now. But it's still absolutely infuriating when it happens that I have to just go redo everything all over again. But everything is good. Everything is good. And also, Omar, can you grab Shiny's link? How are you doing, guys? But yeah, it's like, it absolutely just almost sent me into a tailspin of just absolute rage with the fact that, oh yeah, this is happening again. Thankfully, it's not. Thankfully, everything is good. You know, honestly, honestly, I'm not gonna, I'm pulling you on. I'm pulling you on. I'm pulling you onto the lineup route on, so that way if we need, if we need, we can get rid of the weather, because the hail will be a big problem when, of course, you're doing the Tyrunt. What is OBS, Mudkip? It's a pain in the butt, is what it is. OBS is a massive pain in the butt. It is a software that refuses to work. I mean, I'm not expecting the shiny to get gotten today, mostly because this dinosaur absolutely hates me. But I mean, you know, we might get it. We might get it. It's like, most of the thing is that I want to get this shiny purely for the simple reason of I just want to get things moving along. Well, I mean, the name says it all, Mudkip. It is OBS. It is exactly what it is. It means like online browser systems. I forget what does it actually stand for. I'm curious. What does it actually stand for again? OBS acronym. What does it mean again? It's like Open Broadcaster Software. Okay, that's what it means. Open Broadcaster Software. Okay, so I had the complete thing wrong. But don't worry, we're back to the hunt. Thankfully, we didn't lose all of our layouts. Again. Like, that's mostly what the infuriation comes from. Comes from the fact that this already happened, where I lost all of my layouts. For those who don't know about that fiasco that happened several weeks ago, when I was just, you know, setting up for a stream while doing stuff off stream, and I just opened up OBS. A random glitch, or whatever it was, caused OBS to not recognize that it has been used on my computer many times before, and basically says, oh, do you want to set up OBS? Do you use it primarily for streaming or for recording? And the whole, you know, spiel of everything needing to be redone. And that was infuriating, because I had to redo all my pixel calculations. Which, for those who don't know, that takes a long time. That is individually going in, checking, okay, this is how tall this, you know, screen is, this is how wide it is, okay, this is how, you know, wide the background is, this is how, you know, much I can magnify the size, you know, factor of multiplication. This is where the positioning needs to be, and all that crazy BS needed to be done. But now it's good. We didn't lose any of our setup, so everything is going quite well today so far. Got the episode of Splatoon out, which was fantastic. Glad we could get that Splatoon episode out. Been playing some Salmon Run off stream. Actually doing quite well now that I know how to actually use the Hydra Splatling, which is actually really, really fun. Mudkip, later today, I'm going to be playing some more Salmon Run. Would you be available to join in for some Salmon Run fights? Because I'm going to need your help when it comes to killing the King Salmonoid. There's like the only thing that I struggle with using of the current loadout for the salmon run is the slosher, I think is what it's called. It's the bucket one. I only struggle really with using that one, but even then, if I get that on like round 1, round 2, I'm fine. Oh yeah, we missed. Yeah, that was off stream, just me. Yeah, I'm going to be doing that off stream. The main reason why is that Salmon Run doesn't really do well when it comes to the streams for some reason. I mean, I don't know. Like it's weird. Salmon Run doesn't really do well, but like Salmon Run's like, I don't know. Maybe it's people just come for turf war and they just come and hang out and play with each other. But there's that. Wait. We just started and we're just getting raided by Andreas. Oh my gosh, we're really getting raided by Andreas right now. Hello, Lydia of Aragorn. Welcome in, Bradell02. Shiny Ferret, welcome in. How are you doing, Shiny Ferret? Wait, and there's the SSG. There's the Andreas, the wonderful man, the myth, the legend himself. How are you doing, Andreas? Can you please go grab Andreas's link, please? Oh, what were you doing over on your stream, Andreas? SSG Butterfingers raid. Nice one, Freddy. What were you doing over on your stream, Andreas? How did it go? Hopefully it went well. What's new with you, my friend? How, Yveltal Dynamax Adventures. Ah, good old Bacon Wings, I see. Good old Bacon Wings. Did you get Senior Bacon Wings, or was, he elusive, like a greased pig? I guess greased bird in that case, because, you know, Bacon Wings. Or dragon. Live action Mario movie. Oh, wait, right. Oh, yeah, right, the Mario trailer's coming out today. I forgot about that. I'll be honest. I have never played a Mario game, so I don't like commit to memory a lot of Mario stuff. So that's actually thank you for reminding me, Andreas. Thank you very much for reminding me, but I completely blanked on that. We guess Yveltal, he accidentally swapped Clefable. No. Andreas. No. No, the Clefable. The Clefable could have carried. The Clefable could have done so good. What's a Mario? Apparently it's some game by Nintendo, Mudkip? Apparently it's some game. The last one, imagine that was shiny. Yeah, Butterfingers moment. Can we get some Fs in the chat for that run? Because that's always how it is. You know, the failed, mistake-ridden Dynamax Adventure runs are the ones that contain your shinies. You know that is always the case. Again, case in point, 350 Dynamax Adventures for Ho-Oh. The stupid bird refuses to sparkle for me. Yes, I have my turn to scout. Freddy. Thank you very much for reminding me of that. Mario is a man that punches Dino Turtles. Exactly, Andreas. That is exactly true. Also, that is pin-worthy comment, Andreas. That is pin-worthy comment. But how is everyone doing today? Don't forget to leave a like on the stream if you haven't done so already, guys, either. But hope everyone's doing well. I'm doing very, very well, considering we avoided the tragedy that was, OBS completely crashing and wiping all of my layouts for a second time inside of a month, which would have been, highly infuriating to happen again. But everything is good. The layouts are saved. The layouts still exist, and I'll be honest. If my layouts got absolutely wiped again, I don't think we would have been streaming today just out of pure annoyance. Because I don't like streaming if I'm not in the good mood to be streaming. You know, if I'm not, you know, happy or, you know, upbeat and I normally self, I don't really want to stream. But, you know, if, you know, everything is going well, then yeah, let's go stream. Sometimes we even do a bit of a double stream some days. Meta, you be quiet. Yeah, I have maxed out my hours for playtime, Mudkip. I am proud of maxing out my hours. Hey, Casual. I said hi. Casual. Yeah, I'm doing good. Yeah, the Shiny Eternatus code is somewhere on my desk, buried under everything. To people who say that my desk is messy, and you know what the problem is, well, Albert Einstein once said, "A cluttered desk is the sign of a cluttered mind." So what does an empty desk mean? Exactly. That's why I keep a cluttered desk. Because you know, Albert Einstein says so. And Albert Einstein knows a thing or two, apparently. So, you know, if Albert Einstein says something, it must be true. It must be true if it's Albert Einstein. That is also true, Chikorita. I do have a goldfish brain. Like, I have a goldfish brain when it comes to anything that is not, you know, competitive Pokemon. Anything that is not competitive Pokemon, I have a goldfish brain. Even if it's, like, tangentially related to, like, competitive, like, you know, Pokemon breeding mechanics. But I still commit all of that to memory. Like, that's how I know exactly how to, you know, forcibly breed down specific IEVs onto Pokemon so I can breed Trick Room Zero Speed evolution teams, which is specifically one of the things that we were shiny hunting for a while ago, which was the Roggenrola, which, I will be honest, is one of the reasons, like, the Roggenrola shiny hunt pretty much encapsulates all of my worries about ever doing Masuda shiny hunts. That was double odds. That really just epitomizes my worry of Masuda hunts, is I really don't want this to happen again. But at the same time, I have a number of Masuda hunts planned for the future, so maybe I don't dislike what happened that much, that I'm going to be still doing it again, that I still have plans and stuff and things for the future. So there's that. Yeah, I mean, I know that I mean, the thing is, Masuda method is the fastest and the safest method to do. It is the least intensive. You know, you can literally just sit back, run back, and just run around in circles for hours, and you get your shiny eventually. But it is so much less mentally stimulating. Like, I vastly prefer something like this, where even though, yeah, this one takes a lot longer to actually do, it's more mentally stimulating because, you know, I'm constantly engaged by having to look for the next little Tyrunt to go find, and then, you know, the battling and all of the stuff and things akin to that. Also, who likes the Tyrantrum Jurassic Park themed Fossil Quest logo? I made that myself. I'm very, very proud of that. Like, but yeah, I got plans. I have a number of plans for future shiny hunts. Like, I've mentioned this before. I've mentioned, you know, back when it was the 87 shiny hunt Pokemon list, which has slowly been being chipped into. We have slowly started to eat away at that shiny list to get to what we are looking for now. So we have, you know, specific, you know, things now. Thank you for Photoshop. Mudkip is something. We love Mudkip, but Mudkip is something else. But yeah. Wait, where is... Come on, Tyrunt, show up. Yeah, I mean, I look back and forth between this with like, for those who don't know about my setup, I have my TV that is, like, slightly off to the side on the right, and then my, you know, computer, which has the screen on it that is the streaming screen, and the webcam on it. But the thing is, of course, you know, with my, you know, mugshot, you know, on this side of the screen with the webcam, the Fossil logo, the shiny Tyrunt, and then the Tyrunt counter, like, a fifth of the entire screen is just a dead zone of nothing shows up. So I have to just look at the actual main TV screen in order, you know, to try and find, you know, if there is a thing that I'm looking that's appearing. But also frequently, you know, it doesn't actually do anything because there's just nothing appearing in that area. I just want my shinies now. I'm rambling. But yeah, rambling is what we do. Rambling is our specialty here on this channel. But yeah, today we are going to either break odds, so we're going to go over odds for this hunt, or we're going to get the hunt under odds. Odds is about 1 in 1,365, I think is the exact number. And don't really plan it's going to be. I mean, I don't think it's going to shine either. I don't think it's going to shine, as we've seen from, you know, Ho-Oh, Rainbow Bird of Annoyance. It just refuses to sparkle, even though we're 3.5 odds on the freaking thing. And, you know, birds are related to dinosaurs. You know, birds are the natural evolution of dinosaurs. So, in a way, every dinosaur has been a bit of a jerk to us. But then again, we did get shiny Amora under odds. Granted, under odds for Amora refers to literally 8 encounters under odds. So, there's that, which, yeah, that was annoying, and is annoying, but at the same time, this hunt's going a lot faster than Amora, because Amora, I think, took us double the number of streams to get to this point in terms of encounter numbers. Because, yeah, for those who don't know, Amora is just a ridiculously annoying Pokemon to shiny hunt. Because, well, both Tyrunt and Amora have the exact same overworld spawn odds, which is a 10% chance of appearing anytime a Pokemon is generated to appear. The thing is with Amora, the area in which Amora appears in is significantly smaller. So, you know, you have an area where only 4 Pokemon can appear, you know, per time you get a spawn to appear. So if it doesn't appear in those 4, well, you're not getting Amora. Whereas with Tyrunt, the areas are significantly larger. We have, you know, more than W, more than 8, 9, 10, you know, spawns that can appear in a given area. Meaning, despite the fact that they are the identical odds of appearing, because it generates so many more Tyrunt potential spawns, you are encountering more Tyrunt, so you're not wasting as much time just running around in circles like an idiot. Like I do. But yeah, it's like, I like it, but at the same time, it also kind of annoys me. High horsepower. Stop the dinosaur in the face. Just stop the dino in the face with the power of Groudon. Yeah. Yeah. There we go. But yeah, don't worry, we're gonna hopefully get our shiny today. Like, the thing is, if we get the shiny today, then we can move on to one of our next shiny hunts, which is gonna be some of the other fossils, which is gonna be good. But, the annoying part is that I need to go make a new layout, which is gonna be a bit of a time sink. But I mean, if I get the shiny, then I'm happy. If we get the shiny, then I'm happy. Oh, I didn't use, I still have one more, that must be, high horsepower. Yeah, Rock Slide, High Horsepower have been 2 moves that in Draft League that I'm participating in haven't been kind to me. Burno can attest to this. Of the day I got supremely unlucky with the 5% miss chances, we were playing, he has a doubles Draft League on his server, and I was using my Excadrill with Rock Slide. And, of course, it's double battle, so there's 2 Pokemon that Rock Slide hits. Except in my case, Rock Slide decided to roll the 5% miss on his left Pokemon, and also roll the 5% miss chance on his right Pokemon in the same turn. So both of my hits missed, and I'm like, really, game? You're going to give me, like, the 5% miss when both of the things that Rock Slide is gonna hit would one-shot both of them and completely remove them from the field and give me the win? So yeah, so that day, that was also fittingly the day that we had all those 5% chance misses in the Let's Go Pikachu upload series, where I missed Fly twice on Aerodactyl, I missed Floaty Fall on Pikachu, and then just like, I missed. I think I counted up. I think it was something like 8 5% misses in that entire day, when the moves that were a 95% chance of hitting, I used maybe 15 times. So my accuracy was like below half for moves that have a 95% chance of hitting. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. That is how bad my luck is. Exactly, again, exactly. That's why you're getting a pinned comment, Casual. My suffering equals your amusement. My suffering equals your amusement. And of course, I'm always happy to amuse you. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I play Deltarune, despite the fact that I despise Undertale. My suffering gives you amusement. Which, it does make me sad, though, that the first recording of the first stream of Deltarune, I forgot to turn on the voice meter software so my partner that was recording with me could have his voice be picked up, because there were some glorious conversations that were just completely one-sided and make absolutely no sense in context. You know, like the fact that I used to eat chalk. You know, conversation completely lost all of its humor because you couldn't hear the other side of the conversation. Like, I really, really wish I turned that on, because that stream was legitimately funny. You know, until the fact where I realized, wait, there's no audio on the other person. and the whole stream just got completely kneecapped. Granted, it makes me look like a crazy person, which I am. So there's that. Also, if it's not 100% accurate, exactly casual. If it's not 100%, it's 50. Unless it's Togekiss, where it hits everything. You know, unless it's Togekiss, where it's a 60% chance that goes off 100% of the time. That's why we love Togekiss here. That's why we love Togekiss. Can't stop it. Can't stop it at all. That's scroll bet. Yep, that's a scroll bet. I can use scroll bet, unfortunately. But yeah, I got plans. I've got plans for stuff and things. You know, only thing is though that the weather is just going off, so you have to wait for the weather animations to go through, which is extending the duration of the encounters and slowing down our overall progress. Granted, again, I could have just gone and I could just change the date to a different day and then the weather would go away, but I'm not gonna do that. I mean, if the Tyrantrum was shiny, I'd just probably walk away in annoyance. You know, I would just walk away just furious. But I'd be happy that I got my shiny at least. Because again, the end goal is get shiny Tyrantrum in the end. The Tyrunt is going to be evolved into a Tyrantrum. Like, we all know that is what's going to happen. I am going to evolve this thing into a Tyrantrum and have that Tyrantrum sitting in my, PC. Well, the reason why is that it's not technically a Tyrunt encounter. So, like, I don't really know how to count it. Do I count it for the Tyrunt? Do I not count it? And I mean, it's also a thing that would be funny, but also I kind of don't want to. Because I kind of don't want to just because I know, given my luck, it will happen. Given my luck, I know it will happen. But you know what? Actually, that might be a reason to do it. Knowing my luck, it will happen. And that would be a glorious thing, actually. I mean, knowing my luck, I'll also, get slammed into by another Bolt Hunt, and that Bolt Hunt will be shiny, which annoys me because Bolt Hunt is ridiculously fast. It's like, doggos are good, but Bolt Hunt annoys me. I never realized how obnoxious Bolt Hunt actually was until I started hunting in this area. Like, oh yeah, Bolt Hunt is actually that quick. That it actually like runs that quick that it can outrun you unless you're on your bike going completely straight. And it's just a little bit of an infuriation. Hey Spark, how are you doing? Welcome back, Spark. It's been a while. Hope you've been well. But yeah, this weekend, depending on how things go, we may be doing our next installment of Trial of the Sword. Because the thing is that we beat the first part of Trial of the Sword already. So, Trial of the Sword 1 is now completed. And then we have, Trial of the Sword, part 2 and 3, which is going to be a bit of an annoyance. But I have a plan for those two. I mean, granted, again, the new plan is the same as the old plan. It's going with a 30-minute, level 3 damage boost, and then just throw bombs at all of life's problems. But the other things I don't know what to do. But I mean, the other thing is that that would be Saturday, and we just did a Breath of the Wild stream, so maybe not the best way to do that. I don't know. I'm still like debating when everything is gonna get done. But also I kind of want to get back to the Poipole hunt. Possibly we're gonna be doing another mystery dungeon stream later tonight. I do enjoy the mystery dungeon streams, and I really want to get back to doing those. I really, really want to get back to doing those. So it's been what, like a month since we've done mystery dungeon, I think. It's been a good long time, and it's not good that it's been that long that I can't remember the last time we did it. I freaking love that game, and again, the goal is we are 100%ing Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Sky. I'd say Groudon's considered a dinosaur. I'd say Groudon's considered vaguely a dinosaur. Like, it's big, it's a lizard, it's a giant reptile thing. I'd say that, falls into the category of dinosaur. Because, like, I would say that Haxorus is dinosaur-like. It's a big, giant lizard thing. I mean, really all dinosaur means is like, just like terrible lizard. So, like, it's a lizard. And yes, I would say it is terribly powerful. So yes, I would say terrible lizard is an accurate name for this big guy. I would say that Groudon is very much a dinosaur. So actually, that's going to be today's poll. That is going to be today's poll. Is Groudon a dinosaur? Groudon a dinosaur. That is going to be today's poll. It's a red dinosaur and a blue whale and a green dragon. Green spaghetti, a blue whale, and a red dino. Exactly. Well, Groudon is now out of moves. The reason why is that fight. Oh yeah, right. You have your assault vest on. I keep forgetting that I actually right, you have your AV. Assault vest is legitimately like my okay. Assault vest is not my favorite item. It is my second favorite item, but because my favorite item is the Rocky helmet. Like, this is the weird thing about the Rocky helmet. Every time I give the Rocky helmet to a Pokemon in a playthrough, that Pokemon, for some reason, becomes the absolute MVP of the series and also just ends up being my favorite just Pokemon that I just use in the team. It's just one of the most fun Pokemon to have on the team. And I don't know why that's the case. That happened with Metroid, the Electros, which for those who don't know, I recommend you guys go check out the Black and White 2 series we did, where Metroid just is a shoe for, I would say, like 60% of the time she was on the team. Then we get to, I think it's Humalau City. She goes just 0 to 60, and she just like, absolutely becomes this unstoppable freight train of doom that wreaks vengeance on the enemy teams. You know, I mean, granted, it's not as big of a glow up that, you know, Candela, the Chandelure, had, where she was actually useless until she evolved into Chandelure. Like, even as a Lampent, she was just not good. Then, you know, Chandelure, it just nukes everything. She joked so many major NPC teams, I still get a laugh on. Like, I have debated, like, 2 years after the fact. I think it was 2 years ago. Maybe it was a year ago? Yeah, year ago sounds right, because we were still uploading Black 2, White 2, Black 2, while we were uploading the Metroid series, Metroid Zero Mission. And that was last summer, so yeah, it actually was 1 year ago. I have debated going back and just editing together a montage of all the times where Chandelure joked NPC teams for whatever reason, either bodying them in pure type, inflicting burn on them, pure just type resistance, and it's just the amount of hilarity that ensued just from typing things like that just make me endlessly laugh. But in the end, I mean, Metroid was still the MVP of that entire series. Like I love the move pool that Electros gets as a Pokemon. Like, it's an electric type that gets Levitate as an ability, that gets Giga Drain, so we can laugh at any ground type that exists. Like, yeah, you're a ground type. Okay, not any ground type. Actually, well, it gets Dragon Claw, so we actually kind of can, because, you know, we can use Dragon Claw and Garchomp. But then again, Garchomp is lost again, and Garchomp things. So actually, it kind of can laugh at almost every ground type in existence, just because of its move pool. And I love it. Like, it is a Pokemon that has no weakness. Fundamentally, it has no weakness naturally. You know what I mean? Unless you use, you know, Gravity Smackdown, or, you know, you trick an Iron Ball onto it, which is great. I'm ready for Halloween, Nub. I am very much ready for Halloween. I am very, very happy that, you know, people in the neighborhood are not, you know, coming around as normally as much as they do, because that means I get all the Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. You know, all of our leftover Reese's Peanut Butter Cups just go to me, because my family knows, yeah, I place the Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, the Three Musketeers, in the State of Eternal Dibs. They just come to me, because I love them. I have a weakness for peanut butter. Alright. We're doing the Tyrantrum encounters. We are doing the Tyrantrum encounters. No shiny Tyrantrum. Unfortunately, not yet. Soon. TM. Oh, it's a female. That's actually quite rare. Speaking of actually that, the Amora shiny we got. Like, I'm still wondering when the RNG is. I mean, granted, I probably shouldn't say waiting for the RNG to come and punch me again for the female shiny Amora we got. Because I feel like, you know, shiny Ho-Oh not appearing after 3.5 odds is punching me in the RNG goodness enough. But yeah, like, those who don't know, we shiny hunted Amora prior to shiny hunting Tyrunt. After when we finished the shiny Amora hunt, then we started the Tyrunt hunt. The shiny Amora we got was a female, which is I think it's a little under an 11% chance of appearing. So that is probably my rarest shiny I have ever gotten, and we are now approaching 100 encounters off of odds. This was the range where we found the Amora shiny in. Hopefully, RNG luck will smile upon us today and give us our sparkly T-Rex. I doubt it will happen, though, but it would be nice, you know, to be a little optimistic about, you know, shiny T-Rex. It would be nice to, you know, potentially get a shiny Rexy. Nope, no Rexy. Dang, I love it. I love Rexy, though. Like, I recall I forget what paleontologist said it. He said something to the effect of, if your favorite dinosaur is the Tyrannosaurus Rex, you're unoriginal and you need to get a new favorite dinosaur. And I'm just thinking, that's not wrong. I mean, the T-Rex is great, but granted, the only reason we love the T-Rex is because of Jurassic Park, which is a great movie. It's a great movie, I'll be honest, but, like, we only love it because of just Jurassic Park. And also, let me run away from you, Tyrantrum, please. Thank you, we can escape the dinosaur now. We've escaped dinosaur extinction. That... Okay, for a second I thought that was a Greninja. Like, please tell me Greninja was not, you know, just, like, stalking me for all the stuff I had prepped. Hello there, Water. Are you new here? Welcome in, Water. Welcome to the channel. How are you doing today? Hope you're doing well. Keep giving me Tyrunt. I mean, I would like to get a female shiny Tyrunt to add to my collection with a female shiny Amora. I'd like that. I would very much like that, but I mean, don't think it'll happen because my luck is not that good. Again, you support the Ho-Oh, which is 3.5 odds. Like, I am still debating mentally going on another, like, all-day Dynamax Adventure shiny hunt stream where we go super aggressive onto Ho-Oh DAs, but at the same time, I kind of don't want to after the gong show that happened in the voice chat last time, which is even, you know, despite being, you know, probably 4 or 5 months ago, is still the reason we don't do voice chat on the channel. Welcome in, Water. Hope you're doing well. Welcome here. Glad to see you doing well. But yeah, for those who don't really know about the whole gongs that happened with the last Dynamax Adventure thing and why we don't do voice chat on the channel, I don't blame them for wanting to, you know, have fun, you know, just like kind of like messing around in the voice chat. But when the messing around in the voice chat kind of comes to the detriment of the stream, that's when I just like kind of draw the line, and, you know, for about about 2 hours of saying, guys, cut it out, guys, cut it out. My patience wearing thin. And it didn't really end. It kind of got to the point where, okay, I'm just not going to do voice chat. And that is still remained in effect, you know, despite being many, many, many months later. We still don't, you know, kind of by policy have a voice chat that we do. We only really do voice chat if we're ever doing collabs, which we haven't really done many collabs lately. Granted, a large part of that is because Andreas already got a shiny Ho-Oh. And we've still not yet to fully reschedule the Anxious Christian Fossil Fighters series. That is still going to be an ongoing series. We are still doing it. We just need to get back to scheduling this time we're going to be streaming that. Because we don't have, like, lining up schedules is the problem. But yeah, that is still an ongoing series. That is the still ongoing thing that we're going to be doing. Because I do very much love Fossil Fighters. You know, meanwhile, you know, says I love Fossil Fighters. Meanwhile, just has not done anything with Fossil Fighters Frontier in like 2 weeks. I need to get back to doing that. For those who don't know, I don't like recording if I'm not, you know, feeling up to it. and I still kind of haven't felt up to, like, recording Fossil Fighters Frontier. There's a few things about the game that frustrate me, and I want to, like... We're slowly chipping our way through Fossil Fighters Frontier. We are slowly chipping our way through it. It is slowly going through, you know, a phase of we will eventually finish it. But thank you very much. But yeah. But yeah, but yeah, I mean, I'm hoping we get the Tyrunt soon. I love Shiny Tyrunt, and it is going to be one of my, I'm making a team of competitive Pokemon, well, competitively raised Pokemon that are all Shinies, and this is going to go on it, because it just has very fun move pool. That can just, you know, really use for that. But yeah. Now, Tyrunt's one of my favorites. Hey, Lionheart, how are you doing? Can someone please go grab Lionheart's link? How have you been, Lionheart? Hope you're doing well. But yeah, we're doing okay. We're just hunting Tyrunt. It's not shining, though. It's not shining. The Shinosaurus Rex does not give us sparkles. I am well. I am indeed very well. Lionheart, I'm doing much better. Like a week or two ago, I was, sick. Overcame the sickness. The cough is still a little bit there, but, you know, that generally takes, like, 2 weeks to go away. But we're doing well. Been busy because of doing work. We're glad to come to it. Thank you very much, Lionheart. Always a pleasure to do that. Please go grab Lionheart's link, please. But yeah, it's great to be back doing the Tyrunt hunt. I do love Splatoon. I very much love the Splatoon streams. But I know that we kind of need to start dialing back the Splatoon streams because we're kind of not doing any of the other series we've been doing. So this is kind of the vague streaming schedule idea that I'm trying to work out, where we are probably going to be doing Splatoon. We're going to be doing Splatoon every Friday. Every Friday is going to be a Splatoon night. That is, every Friday is always going to be marked as Splatoon. Unless, you know, otherwise stated, it is going to be default Splatoon. I'm very sorry, I was not using the fast level stream shiny empties. I don't know why I would do that. I mean, it's alright, Water. It's alright, Water. My luck has been terrible with shinies just in general, so I think it's more of my terrible luck more than anything. But it's still glad to have you here, Water. You know, it's never the stream audience's bad luck. The stream audience can only bring good luck. Bad luck is not brought by the stream chat. Bad luck is brought by the streamer, not the stream chat. The chat brings the good luck. That's the way I always follow. That's my policy. Because, I mean, the one shiny hunt that I did off-screen was a Kartana Dynamax Adventure shiny hunt. Over 400 Dynamax Adventures. Over 400. When every other Dynamax Adventure we have gotten the shiny from, you know, again, exclude the Ho, because we still haven't gotten the Ho yet. Every single other one, like I think 5 of them we've done so far, maybe 6. All of them have been massively under odds. So, like, we have rarely gone over odds with stream to shiny hunts. Most all of them have been under odds or just barely at odds. So, like, the Amora shiny hunt was 8 encounters. 8 encounters. The Amora shiny hunt was 8 encounters below hitting odds. There. I have a very hard time articulating words. That's the reason I decided to become a Let's Player and streamer. You know, a thing where you need to talk. My longest hunt is the Ho-Oh. I mean, if you're referring to time-wise, then, you know, the duration of the shiny hunt, that is Ho-Oh. If you're referring to, longest in number of encounters, that would be the Kartana hunt. The reason why it's different, despite the difference in encounters, was the Kartana shiny hunt was a solo hunt that I did just off-stream, and I turned off animations, and because Kartana has the fastest time to win of any Dynamax Adventure battle, I would blast through a Kartana raid in maybe over 5 minutes. You know, to the point where those, you know, over 400 encounters I got on Kartana, those were within 4 days. You know, I blasted through that entire run because I went aggressive with the Kartana Dynamax Adventures. All that in a single day. Well, not in a single, all that in 4 days. So basically, about 100 DAs per day for the Kartana hunt. Really, it was more like, you know, more than 100 on the previous 3 days, because we got, well, I got the Kartana shiny quite early on the 4th day. So it was more like maybe 133 on the previous days. It was, but yeah, the reason why it comes down is, but if it's time, if it's number of encounters, it's Kartana. If it's time, it's Ho-Oh. Because, like, we've been doing the Ho-Oh Dynamax adventures for almost a year at this point. Turn of the month, it'll actually be 1 year since starting the Ho-Oh Dynamax adventure hunt. Which is one of the reasons why I have been thinking of making a video. The main reason why I've been thinking of making the video when I haven't, like, decided I will do this is that it would make me go through every single shiny hunt we have ever done, and you'll look at every kind of Pokemon I've ever gotten and see, okay, date of catch, date of catch, and also editing together all the live encounters of them would really just take a long time, and I'm not realistically sure, you know, if it's worth spending, you know, maybe 10 hours sifting through footage for, you know, maybe a video that's going to be not possibly published. It's a thing that I'm evaluating. Most encounters was wow. The most encounters I've done for a single hunt, regardless of odds for the hunt, was the Lilligant hunt, which was at 1,500 something. Okay, technically, the Safari Week shiny hunt was more, as we went near 5,000 encounters for that. However, we didn't get a shiny out of the Safari Week hunt, so I don't really count that. And also, like, there are some ones where you're dealing with different odds. You know, you're dealing with full odds overworld hunting with Safari Week, where, you know, the barely over 5,000 encounters is only slightly over odds, because the odds are 1 in 4,000 something. Whereas, you know, with, you know, say this, you know, the Ho-Oh Dynamax Adventures, that's 3 times over odds, despite, you know, being 350 encounters. So it really depends on, like, the relative to its base shiny value. I'm excited to see the new Scarlet Violet trailer and the new Murder. I have not seen either of them yet. They are on my list to go watch, though. After this stream ends, I will be going and watching those. Because I actually did forget about the not the Mario trailer, the Pokemon trailer, because I was out walking my dog earlier today. And it just so happened that the time I was walking my dog coincided with the time that the trailer was up. So I completely, like, missed everything about it. I mean, I'm still happy. I mean, when it comes to walking the doggo or watching the trailer, walking doggo is more important. Doggo is more important. Boofo. But yeah. I mean, we're going to be hitting odds today, so that's the good thing. We are going to be hitting odds. We're hitting odds today. But yeah, electric. I mean, yeah, I hope that you, I hope that, like, this hunt goes quick. I hope we get the shiny day. Like, I mean, I hope that if we either, what the heck just goes? I hope if we don't get the encounter, the shiny thing today, I hope if we get the shiny today, or we get it, like, relatively soonish. Because I would like to get moving on to the other fossil shiny hunts, because we do have a good number of fossil shiny hunts to do. We have Cradilly, we've got Armaldo, we don't have Aerodactyl, because I already have a shiny Aerodactyl. There is that. Yeah, a lot of people are thinking that Ghost Fire is what Fuecoco is going to end up evolving into. I remain to be convinced if that's the case. I mean, I think it would be a nice thing to have it be, because, you know, the Ghost Pepper, and it looks like a pepper croc. Yeah, it looks like a pepper, but also, you know, being a crocodile, so I think it would be, like, a nice thing to do. But I'm still, like, yet to be convinced that anything to do. I love Cradilly. Like, I've always loved Cradilly, like, it still is my favorite fossil Pokemon. And for a while, it was my number 3, actually even number 2 favorite Pokemon for a good while. It was my number 2 favorite Pokemon for a while, before Lucario replaced it. Then Lucario got demoted to the least favorite Pokemon, then Togekiss took the spot of number 2 favorite. I'm not sure Fire Fairy would be what Fuecoco goes into eventually, but hey, Moon, how are you doing? Yeah, Water Ghost. I would like to see an offensive Water Ghost type. Like, I like Pringleface, otherwise known as Jellicent, but I would like to see an offensive Water Ghost type, because I just think, yeah, that could be, interesting. That would be, an interesting offensive profile, and it's got a pretty great defensive profile as well. So, like, it could be an attacker that, its resistance is makeup, its resistance and, like, immunities makeup. I think it could be fun. Offensive Water Ghost beam. It would. Like, Water and Ghost have such a great offensive profiles. They're generally quite unresisted. They're quite unresisted typings, and it could just get broad spectrum neutral coverage. Yeah, again, I'm not really convinced of any of the starters' final typings. Like, okay, I'm bad at phrase. I am not convinced of any particular type combination for the starters' potential typings is a definite possibility. So, like, I think that there is a potential to be anything other than Dragon for most of the typings. Like, I mean, obviously there are certain ones, like, yeah, you're not going to see Grass Fire, Grass Water, Grass, Fire Water. You're not going to see any of those typings for, the starters, or, like, Dragon is not going to be a sub-typing. I know, Solo Q, Soul Rayquaza, Dodio is not new the second time. Fun. I actually have not played Unite in a good couple of weeks. I feel like Terrestrializing feels like a mechanic that's in power. A number of people have a similar thought, but I do agree with that. Like, I feel like it's meant to be, of course, it's this game's super mechanic, which, not a fan of that. This goes into a whole scrapped video series that is never going to see the light of day, but it was the Super Mechanic retrospective video, which is never going to ever be released. Main reason is it would take way too much time to do, and it wouldn't really do anything, because it was scripted with the running idea of after Shield and Sword, there's going to be no more super mechanics, because, finally people have, wised up and these things are horrible. And then, Terrestrials came out and like, okay, well, all of that goes out the window, and the revisions will literally take me months to go through, because that entire script to write took me a little over a year to make. Of course, though, last week you got a 50% win rate, according to unit. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, it's been a while since I've actually played Unite, and I don't think we'll play Unite for a while on stream. Main reason is that if I want to play like a party game with, of course, you guys, the viewers, Splatoon is, a lot more enjoyable, a lot more laid back, and, I don't want to chuck my controller through my TV or my window when playing Splatoon. So there's that. But yeah, I think that it's very likely that Hidden Power was meant to be pseudo-replaced by, like Terrestrializing. However, the funny thing is, like, this is the funny thing about Terrestrializing. There is no reason to use a defensive Terrestrialization. Because as we know, Terra Blast only works if you have Terrestrialized. So after your type has changed. But see, here's the issue. A lot of, like, the big competitive heads have already just crunched the numbers. Even, like, the hypothetical ones of, okay, just, like, a 50% boost or a double boost. They already crunched the numbers. There is no reason to use a defensive Terrestrialize. Purely because the offensive boost you get far outstrips any potential defensive utility. The other part is, almost every Pokemon that is good competitively is good in no small part due to their type combination. So, a thing that, you know, completely alters your type combination, completely alters your offensive profile, your resistance profile. It completely alters the utility of that Pokemon, and in a lot of cases will take away utility from that Pokemon. The only real way where a Pokemon likely will get a defensive benefit from something like Terastallizing is if it's a, you know, using like Gastrodon, where, you know, Gastrodon is naturally immune to water via Storm Drain, so you use Terastallize and you turn, you know, Pure Ground, or you can just turn into some typing that is, you know, weak to water, but your Storm Drain ability negates that weakness to water. The other problem in the end, though, is a Terastallized Rain Sweep is bonkers. Have a good day. Thank you very much, Water. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for coming in. Please do not forget to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't done so, but thank you for coming in. But yeah, like, a lot of the big competitive heads have already looked into things like just hypothetical Calyrex Ghost with Calyrex Ghost Rider with Ghost Terastallized Astral Barrage. Like, the damage numbers and just damage potential that these things do, like Swift Swim Rain Sweepers with Terastallized Water, or God forbid, Terastallized Water Kyogre. People have already done, like, hypothetical damage calculations of these things, and the amount of damage these things are going to be outputting is so beyond savage. It's just, you know, it's going to actually cause exactly what I said, you know, what super mechanics intrinsically do. It causes a breakdown of enjoyability in games because things are dealing so much damage with single moves. They're a pocket nuke. And, you know, unlike with, you know, Z moves and Dynamax, in which I will say, like, I will fight this to the end of the earth, the good thing about Dynamax and Z moves, they're self-limiting. You know, you only get 3 turns of a Dynamax, and you have to do very specific things if you want to get the best utility out of that Pokemon. Z moves, one-time use. If you flub that usage, it's gone. Same applies with Dynamaxing. But with Terastallizing, you can recall the Pokemon, it doesn't go away. It stays permanently throughout the entire fight. And that's terrifying, because that is what made Mega Evolutions so bonkers. With that they can just go out and they can pick their favorable matchups. They are not limited to time constraints. And again, like, Sun Sweep, like Ninetales. Like imagine Terastallized Ninetales, Alola Ninetales, with Blizzard. Perfectly accurate Blizzard, double damage Terastallize. Perfectly accurate in the hail. Imagine that kind of damage. And then you have Freeze Dry on top of that, which, you know, screws over water types. You know, one of the few things that can actually, you know, laugh at Freeze Dry. You know, well, not it can laugh at Blizzard. You know, the big bulky waters. Okay, well, all the bulky waters are now weak to Freeze Dry, which cripples them. Or even more unholy, Sunsetters live in Ninetales, Flamethrower, Overheat, Terastallized Fire. What would you do against this thing? Like, what would be able to survive hits from that thing? You know, unless you're using mass resistances, you're not going to be able to take a hit from this thing. And that's, like, the one, like, the major worry that a lot of the big competitive heads have is Terastallize in conjunction with weather is such an exploitable thing. I mean, to a lesser degree, Terrains is, like, also, like, a similar, like, again, like, Terastallize Electric Double Down with, you know, Terastallize Electric moves, like, Rising Voltage. They're ridiculous, but they're not quite as ridiculous as, you, like, Terastallize Water. Just bring Pokemon Ultra. Nice work on that. But sorry about acknowledging, but how are you doing, Owen? What is up with you? Hope you're doing very well. I know I am doing well. But yeah, like, my main worry with Terastallize does come down to how badly is it gonna scar the metagame landscape. Or will the devs realize that, yeah, Terastallizing is kinda unhealthy. In VGC, we're just gonna have various formats where Terastallize is not allowed, which is good. Like, that's one of the things that I do respect them for doing with the VGC series. I forget what VGC series, I think it was 7 or 8, maybe 9. or I forget what VGC series it was, but there was one of the VGC series where Dynamaxing was prohibited. Like, you cannot Dynamax in this VGC series. And a lot of people really liked that. And I'm thinking that they learn from that and they apply that with Terrasilize. If Terrasilize is a big, obnoxious problem, they will, like, intermittently, you know, have various VGC series where Terrasilize is just not permitted. And I hope that's the case, because, again, I really do enjoy competitive metagames. And I really don't want my first regional after Richmond to, you know, end up with, oh yeah, Terrasilize, nuke. I basically don't want my, you know, first regional that I go to that wasn't, you know, Richmond Ultras, because I was forged in the fires of Ultra Series, where Primal Groudon and Xerneas prowled the world, destroying everything, where Mega Rayquaza with Life Orb and Primal Kyogre were destroyers. That was my first taste of VGC, and I have no desire to go back to that level of power creep ever again. I still have the flashbacks. I still have the nightmares. I just feel strong wind. Rain that feels like you're swimming in the ocean, and a baking heat that dries everything. And then, in the distance, a stupid deer with the X-shaped horns that just blasts everything with light. Hey. But yeah, it's like, that's like, granted, most people don't, most competitive players don't really enjoy the restricted legendary formats. A lot of the big players don't enjoy that because it is a far more centralizing metagame where one of the main reasons why a lot of people like VGC is that when you're using, you know, non-legendary, you know, non-restricted box art legendaries, because like the regular legendaries, you know, the base, like the 600 and below ones, they're really not that powerful, all things considered. You will, like, retool your team, you know, from your team to 6 and pick your 4 from your team to 6, very heavily based on what your opponent's, you know, team is bringing. But when it comes to the, you know, restricted box art formats, you pretty much know half the enemy team right from the get-go. They are almost always going to be bringing their 2 box art legendaries, purely because they are just that good. You know, like, I mean, you have things like Incineroar, which, you know, again, a testament of how good Incineroar as a Pokemon is that when it came to formats allowing Zacian and Incineroar was more used than Zacian. That, like, there are definitely non-legendary that can hold their own even in the legendary formats. But the problem is that those become instant picks. Those become Pokemon that you are almost always seeing brought to matches purely because they're just that good, and eventually you end up with, like, the exact same teams on both sides, which is a big problem that happens predominantly in the restricted formats, which is, oh, that was a brilliant R1, nice. Which is one of the reasons I, you know, again, personally do not really like the restricted formats. I mean, I love a good power trip as much as the next one. I love bringing in, you know, a big, super powerful legendary like Groudon or Dialga or something like that. Just bring it in and just bring in the full weight to bear of destruction on my enemy. But at the same time, the same thing is done to you in return, and it doesn't feel so good. It doesn't feel so good when, you know, when I have this, like, whole plan with, you know, Trick Room Dialga. Oh yeah, Groudon. Boop, Precipice Blades. Death. It doesn't feel good. So there's that dichotomy right there. It comes down to really, do you like having, you know, things like that, but it is the case. Hey, Stocking, how you doing? How you doing, Stocking? Enough of my rambling about VGC competitive stuff. Sorry about that. But how's everyone doing today? We're just hunting Tyrunt. Well, I'm doing well. I'm doing quite well. I'm doing quite well myself. I'd be doing better if this dinosaur would appear for me. But it's, you know, not going to pop up because it's being a bit of a jerk. I gotta get more water, so I'll be back in a sec. But yeah, I'm thinking this weekend we're probably gonna do another thing with Breath of the Wild's Trial of the Sword. I think that's what we're gonna do. Hey Paulo, how you doing? First midterm day. Midterms. I always hated exams. Exams are suffering and they suck. Like, no one likes exams, but they're vaguely important. But at the same time, like this is one of the things I never really understood about exams. Like even in college, it is very well known and very well understood by people that you need a certain disposition to be able to be good at taking exams. Like, there's a number of people who are like legitimately very intelligent. Like they're very intelligent and they know the material, but they're just not good at taking tests, and it reflects in a very different way than what their actual capabilities are. And it's a very well known thing, but yet we still do exams because it's like the only thing that they know of about how to do things, which is a bit of an annoying. Like, yeah, no, if there was a better system, this wouldn't be a problem. But yeah, I mean, it's one of the many reasons I'm glad I'm no longer in school. I graduated earlier this year, about 5 months ago, so that was good. And that's good, I'm done with school, so that's very good, but it means also, I'm gonna find a job soon, which is also a thing. Gotta go. Sounds good. Sounds good. I just hope we can get the shiny soon. That is good. That is good. But also, again, guys, please do not forget to leave a like on the stream if you haven't done so already. But yeah, I'm thinking this weekend, either Sunday or maybe Saturday. I'm not positive about Saturday. We're gonna do the next installment of Trial of the Sword. Main reason is that, like, with Trial of the Sword, is that I kind of want to get Trial of the Sword done. Well, I do and I don't, because here's the thing. I'm going to have a Trial of the Sword Stage 3 constantly hanging over my head. The second I finish, Trial of the Sword Level 2. Okay, well, now I gotta go for the only one that I'm actually, legitimately worried about. Because, because Trial of the Sword, the middle trials, there's the beginning, middle, and end trials. So there is the first Trial of the Sword thing, I think, is 12 in total. And then Trial of the Sword middle, I think, is, 18? I think it's 18? I can go, I'll actually check this right now. But yeah, there's a number of things about Trial of the Sword that just kind of scare me. But really, those are only contained on the Trial of the Sword last stage, the end trials, where that one is just a long endurance test. And because this is the biggest enemy when it comes to the Trial of the Sword. It actually isn't the actual trial itself. It's mental fatigue. Because this is one of the things that you will notice when you know a lot of people they stream for a long time, is that they're playing and their precision while playing drops off as time goes on. That the longer they stream, they get more mentally fatigued and they get significantly worse at playing. And that's the reason why that worries me. Is, say I go through, the first, 45 minutes of the Trial of the Sword, lose. Okay. Well, now I have to deal with, now, of course, gotta keep my frustration in check. Gotta keep the, wanting to be timely in check. As well as keeping, the mental fatigue of, after, I would say maybe it's 3 hours is where there's a very significant decrease in playing capabilities, which is one of the reasons why I tend to keep my streams, less than 3 hours. But, for Trial of the Sword, it's definitely going to be longer. Hey, Pat, how you doing? Again, Evolution. Neat. Let me just go check what the actual number of Trial of the Sword middle trials is, because I know it's I don't think it's more than 20. I don't think it's more than 20. I think it's 18. Maybe it's less than 30. But then No, but I think, like, Trial of the Sword end ones is, like, a little over, like, it's like 35, I think? I don't know, I mean, again, the reason I'm checking this stuff is that I want to just mention that Trial of the Sword. Yeah, but I'm hoping I just get this shiny soon. I just want it. But yeah, Trial of the Sword scares me. But I have a plan. Yes, okay, 16. 23, really? Final Trial only is 23. Okay. Well, I mean, again, okay, so it's not as bad as I thought it was. That is significantly more manageable than I was expecting it would be. But the problem with the middle trial is that, again, like, the longer the thing goes on, I'm going to lose my offense buff, which one of the main reasons why, like, we did so well on the early trials, like, I mean, it took me what? Well, I mean, also one of the reasons why, like, the first trial setup, like, was so long for me was, like, I'd been playing and doing a whole bunch of shrines for a long time, so I was, like, what, 4 or 5 hours? Well, no, I think it was, like, 4.5 hours into the stream by the time we started Trial of the Sword. So, 4 hours in, start fresh, Trial of the Sword Stage 2. I think I might be able to tackle that quite easily. But yeah, like, my main plan for Trial of the Sword is Trial of the Sword level 3 is pain. Like, that's gonna be suffering. It's gonna be dialyzed suffering. And I want to knock that one out. I want to knock that trial out quick. Which is why I think... So I think for the first 2 trials, my goal is going to be, like... Well, the second middle trials, because I don't think we can beat the first one, is... I think I want to try and, like, knock it out as quick as possible. So, you know, rush through it. You know, try and keep my buff as long as possible. Get as many floors done with the buff on as possible. But I think with the third trial section, I think the slow, methodical route is going to be the better way, where it's just like I don't, you know, blitz through things. The buff will keep me safe for a while, but I want to, like, you know, be conservative with everything. Hey, Box, how you doing? How'd you burn yourself? I don't know if I was finally getting it. I saw Chikorita. But how's everyone doing today? But yeah, I'm thinking that Trial of the Sword Stage 2 is going to go by significantly quicker than the first one. Well, okay. Significantly quicker with respect to overall number of floors, relative number of time. You know, it took us, what, 2 tries to... took us 3. Third try is when we beat Trial of the Sword. So I think, what, maybe second try, we're probably going to be Trial of the Sword 2. Though the worry is that Trial of the Sword Stage 3. But again, I have my plans. I have my plans for Trial of the Sword Stage 3. Also, the reason why, as for Trial of the Sword, the reason I'm going with the attack boost, not the defense boost, comes down to, realistically, your enemy in Trial of the Sword is weapon durability. And weapon durability can be non-negotiable outside of attack boost. Like, if you do more damage, you consume the same durability as, you know, regular damage, but you're dealing more damage, so it takes less hits, meaning less durability is wasted. So that's the thing. That's a plan. I mean, the thing is, here's kind of my philosophy when it comes to, like, Pokemon, is that they're oftentimes, and this is a bit of an underappreciated thing that a lot of regions have, is sometimes there just need to be Pokemon that are not great. I mean, as bad as it is to say, and, you know, as you know, somewhat hypocritical as it might say, you know, coming from a guy who a lot of his favorites are actually quite good, good competitively, or just have good stats in general, is oftentimes we do need Pokemon that are just simply not great. Because, you know, look at, for example, you know, Unova. A lot of Pokemon in Unova have actually quite good toolkits to do a lot of things that are actually quite good. None of them stand out. You know, like, the bad Unovan Pokemon really stand out because they're some of the few, you know, not great ones. You know, you've got, like, you know, Watchog, with, like, Watchog and Alolan, like, really stand out as being not great. But other than that, a lot, you know, Watchog, Unpheasant, Grand Unpheasant, like, probably for different reasons. Respect to a lot of the other regions, there's a huge portion of really, really great or just even, good Pokemon. Whereas in most regions, you just kind of need not great Pokemon. I mean, imagine if, say, Sinnoh. Like, imagine, like, everything in Sinnoh was just, like, really, really good, and there were maybe, like, 2 not great evolutionary lines in all of Sinnoh, being, like, Finneon and, like, Shieldon. Like, everything else was just super great to just, really, really solid. Stuff like Garchomp really wouldn't stand out or be nearly as memorable because, like, well, everything else is kind of, like, punching on the same level as they are, so they don't really, like, stand out in our minds. And, you do kind of need the not great Pokemon to be there, because it makes, like, the other ones that will, like, shine brighter, which is one of the reasons why I say, even if a Pokemon isn't great, it still has a function. It still has a function, even if it isn't, the greatest thing there is. There need to be some things that are just overall not great. Otherwise, you end up with, a pretty power creepy mess where everything just tends to perform the same. The quote from Syndrome that I always use when it comes to this is, if everyone's super, then no one will be. Nothing really stands out if everything is good. They just all blur together after a while and just become a haze of everything being good, nothing being, adequate or bad. Just it gives things, more of an identity when, yeah, this thing isn't great, but we like it anyway. It gives that thing an identity. And, like, that's one of the reasons why I never really say things need to get evolutions, because in a lot of cases, the evolution, like, it doesn't help the base even itself, like Girafarig. Girafarig itself doesn't get anything, Girafarig itself isn't actually getting anything. The evolution is going to be an overall wholesale, strict upgrade in almost every case, and Girafarig is just going to be, like, left by the wayside, unless it maybe can use a Violite. But, I mean, I don't think it's going to be able to use a Violite, because one of the main reasons why something like, when it comes to a Violite, you either need to be, like, Scizor, like Scyther, to be great. You need, like, Scyther tier stuff to be good, where it has, Technician on top of its, like, ridiculous speed and actually good defenses naturally. That is, for the bulk and just ridiculously bulky on top of it having, like, actually very solid damage. Or, you're like your Dusclops, where you're just all defense, and then the Violite makes you just unholy amounts of bulky. No luck with the shiny yet, Rabbit. No luck with the shiny. Never underestimate Dunsparce, Bat. Never underestimate Dunsparce. Dunsparce is a monster. I have seen terrifying Trick Room Dunsparce strategies where it, like, flinches things. Like, yeah. I think Ursaring with Eviolite is going to be quite good. I think that, like, again, I think that's, like, very much like the Scizor case, where it has a very respectable offensive stat as is, further boosted, with Guts. So if you can somehow auto-proc some sort of status on it, maybe capitalize on an enemy using Toxic Spikes, or absorb a Will-O-Wisp, or a Scald Burn, you're dealing with a Guts-boosted Pokemon. Because the other thing also is, like, very bulky Pokemon, well, status generally works well at getting rid of them. But if, you burn or you're poison an Ursaring that has Guts, that has a Violite, well, now you're in for a world of hurting, because it's a Guts-boosted Eviolite using Ursaring that can now punch you in the face at Mach 10. That's terrifyingly powerful, while being respectably bulky. Which is one of the reasons why I'm actually very interested in seeing what Ursaluna's gonna play like when it comes to just things like doubles, because it has very good stats as is. It also, again, has Guts, and it's gonna get Stab Earthquake. I think it has like 145 base physical attack stat. It's like Stab Earthquake with 145 base power is bonkers. It is absolutely bonkers amount of damage. I mean, again, every Pokemon is special to someone. That's one of the reasons why I say, like, not everything needs an evolution, because then you gotta think, okay, well, this Pokemon that I like is getting an evolution. Well, what about the people whose favorite Pokemon is something different that doesn't get it? You know, it can make them feel a little more irate, which is the exact reason why a lot of people are fed up with all the fan service that a lot of the older Pokemon are getting. You know, it's kind of a thing of, it can feel like, you know, they're playing favorites a lot of the time, which is one of the reasons why I actually like what they did with the regional variants, where these are, like, almost completely forgotten about Pokemon that, yeah, they just have nothing notable. And, yeah, they're just, boom, regional variants. And it gives, like, a vastly different thing that makes it, like, wholly distinct. Another one why I freaking love Alola Marowak is that, yeah, Alola Marowak, it can do a lot of the similar things that the Bonehead already can do, but it doesn't replace the Bonehead. You know, it doesn't replace, you know, the regular Bonehead in terms of your typing in the somewhat similar way that, you know, Alolan Muck kind of replaces regular Muck because it's a strictly better type combination and just better offensive defensive. It just almost completely replaces it with just a better move pool. Whereas, you know, Alolan Sandslash, Alolan Sandslash, regular Sandslash, Alolan Sandslash, vastly different toolkits. Ninetales, Alola Ninetales, vastly different. Even, like, other regional variants. I just think, like, I like that they do that, where they just make them wholly different. Because even then, it's like, yeah, this thing might as well have just been a different Pokemon altogether. It's somewhat similar name, but really they're just, like, completely disconnected. I like that. I mean, I'm also generally in the camp of, I tend to think, like, the new games should, you know, focus more on the new Pokemon, not, like, you know, old ones. I mean, that's, like, just kind of, like, my personal philosophy is, like, I like to play the new games because I want to see the new stuff. Old stuff, okay, they can have the old stuff, but I kind of want to see the new stuff. It's like, that's one of the reasons why, like, X and Y, not a fan. Like, entirety of X and Y is just a showcase of old Pokemon. I play the game to see the new stuff. I mean, if it's a remake, okay, then, well, it's a remake. It is specifically made to be an updated version of a prior game, so that kind of is a justifiable reason for the old stuff. But if it's, like, a new, brand new thing, you know, I don't want to see every 10 seconds, hey, look, old thing, old thing, old thing, old thing. The whole game is old stuff, not new stuff. Really? I want to see the new stuff. That's why I respect the hell out of Gen 5. Like, that's why I really love Gen 5, is that, yeah, no old stuff until you beat the game. Only new stuff. If you're unfamiliar with it, learn it. I like that. Like, that is... I know realistically you cannot do that for every Pokemon game. You, practically speaking, cannot do what Unova did, down to the reason Unova works is that it had a significantly more invested in making the more story involved, and just with the way the games are made more nowadays, you can't really do that anymore. I mean, cutting off everything again until you beat the game, realistically, just, like, won't work because they have been downscaling the number of new Pokemon per region. You know, like, it's very showing when you have, you know, Unova, largest region, you know, by a decent margin, 155 Pokemon, you know, when new the region. That can on its own be its own thing. But a lot of the newer games are, like, 70, 80 new Pokemon overall, you know, maybe, like, 10 or so, you know, regional variants. You can't make, you know, realistically have that be the entire region, because there are just not enough options, which is a little problematic. But yeah, I still do like, you know, of course, like, I like what they're doing nowadays, but they do give you a bit of a focus on the new stuff, but I still think the focus should be the new stuff. Old stuff is good, but the focus should be the new. I mean, that is also just, like, you know, my personal philosophy, my, you know, 2 cents. My 2 cents on that whole thing. Oh, your 4 mascots. Interesting. Neat. It's always good to have multiple mascots. I have, like, 3 mascots, like Tokus, Metagross, and you guys don't know the 3rd one yet. Yet. Well, I mean, you guys technically do know the 3rd one. I've mentioned it, but you guys don't realize that is yet. That's the other mascot. Hey. No. There we go. Yeah, we're less than 80 encounters from mods. I'm ready for, you know, us to go over odds on this thing. I'm ready for another over odds shiny hunt. You know, to begin. Pain is like these like over odds hunts. I don't necessarily mind if the encounter timer isn't really that long, because, you know, as we see from this, you know, if this goes over odds, I don't really mind, because it doesn't take that long to go for, you know, a whole bunch of encounters. But, you know, you can compare and contrast that with the Dynamax Adventures. You know, it's 20 minutes roughly for a single Dynamax Adventure encounter. You know, that really adds up. It takes a very, very long time to get, you know, through a number of encounters. Granted, the odds are better, but overall, you actually encountering them in a much slower. Because I remember doing a calculation when we were doing the, like, this was just a calculation based off of the Zapdos shiny count we did a couple of months ago when we hit 500 subscribers. But really, it's still strange saying, yeah, we hit 1,000 subscribers, and then, you know, we hit 500 a few months ago. Still strange on that. It was overall great. But I did a bit of a back-of-the-envelope calculation, and it is that we pretty much hit odds for Zapdos in around 4 streams of normal time length. So, you know, odds we can assume to be, you know, 4 streams, about 4 hours in length. About 4 streams, about 3.5 hours in length. So around 14 hours it took to reach, you know, odds for an overworld encounter. You know, give or take, you know, a couple of hours, depending on the encounter method. But yeah, that's generally what it was. Then, you know, you cut to, 4 streams. So 4 streams about that time. Then, you know, cut to Dynamax Adventures, about the same length of stream. It takes around 12 or so streams to hit 1 increment of odds. Again, depending on the Pokemon, that will fluctuate. If it's a thing, you know, say like, you know, Zygarde, it's gonna be way more, unless, you know, you specifically go out for a path resetting, which of course will greatly accelerate, you know, the results. But if you're just doing like a regular hunt, you know, regular Dynamax Adventures with, you know, just a random team lobby, it's about 20 minutes per DA, which overall equates to around 12, you know, streams of 4 hours to reach 1 thing of odds, which overall means it's 3 times longer, despite being, you know, a 13th of the odds. It's so much vastly longer in terms of just overall time to get the encounter that it actually takes even longer. I gotta tell you, Charmander. I don't think they're gonna do, like, Palladian starters. I really don't think that's gonna happen. I mean, yeah, I know it's math, but it's also very important math for shiny hunting. But I mean, as you know, seen from the Kartana shiny hunt I did off screen, where that was over 400 encounters, I blew through that in less than 4 days because the animations are raw. You know, that's 5 minutes maybe per encounter. You can blow through that in a matter of days. That's one of the funniest things, is that realistically, I could just, you know, do an all-day Dynamax Adventure shiny hunt solo for Ho-Oh and probably rack up maybe 100 encounters just in a single day, and just, like, get the shiny like that, realistically speaking. But I'm not doing that because I don't, like, I can't engage as much with you guys when I'm just, like, really, really aggressively going just on, you know, Dynamax Adventure solo. I don't think they will, because here's the thing. They didn't give Charizard a regional variant in Alola, and they didn't give it one in, you know, Galar and Granny. Yes, they did get a G-Max form, but there were others that did get a G-Max form. And granted, a number of, like, the populars did get G-Max forms, but I don't think they're gonna give, I mean, granted, also the other stuff, but I don't think they're gonna give, I don't think they're gonna give Charizard a regional variant. Okay, granted, they did give regional variants to, what am I blanking on them? Oh yeah, they gave them to Rowlet, Cyndaquil, Decidueye, Typhlosion, and Samurott. They did all get, you know, regional variants. But the regional variant justification with regards to Hisui is a little more makes sense. Because all of them are specifically based on, you know, much more Japanese things, where, like, that is more about, like, a thematic sort of thing. Even if, yeah, realistically, it doesn't make sense. But, I mean, hey, semantics. But, yeah. Like, I don't know. I don't think that they're going to give other starters regional variant evolutions, mostly down to Legends is an anomaly. You know, it's a bit like using the, like, this is one of the things that I remember a while ago about just talking with people, was the special terastallized type Pikachu and Eevee, where they have multiple terastallized types. You know, you're using a mascot of the, you're using a mascot which is a known anomaly in the series that gets, you know, a bit more than normal, to extrapolate out to, like, the rest of the series. That is not, you're basing, like, the entirety of what could happen off of a mascot, which we know the mascots tend to get more than, you know, the others a fair share of. Which is one of the reasons why I don't really think Palladian Charizard is going to be a thing. It could be, and I could be completely off the money. But I feel like something like that, they would splash across, you know, like a big trailer. Which is one of the reasons why I don't think they're going to be doing anything like that, because, I mean, it would make more sense to reveal something like a regional variant Charizard or Charmander in a trailer than anything, because you know that would get all kinds of attention. Like, you know that would blow up across the internet. Well, the thing is, terastallizing doesn't add on a typing, it converts your typing into something new. It converts your typing into a brand new typing. So I don't, like, Shedinja is, I feel Shedinja is not going to be a factor when it comes to anything competitive-oriented for a Scarlet Violet. Because the main problem with Shedinja is this. Yes, because theoretically, no, it converts your type into the new typing. It doesn't add a typing. It converts you into the new typing. Unless they change the wording. So they change the wording, because before they said it turns you into a different typing. So okay, then they change the wording then. That is interesting. But yeah, I still think Shedinja is going to be a bit of a non-factor. Because unless it was like the translation errors on the previous ones, they did say it turns you into a different typing. Interesting. But yeah, I don't think Shedinja is going to be a factor when it comes to competitive. I don't think Shedinja is going to be like a factor with regards to things, purely down to whether still bodies it out of existence, as well as you're using your Terastallize on a pretty big gamble gimmick. You know, it's basically like, you know, using like a Mega Evolution and having the potential for, yeah, your entire thing has a chance of basically getting just like taken out in one turn passively. And like what you're giving up is a bit too, when you consider like what you're giving up, what you're getting, 99% of the time I think it's going to end up working out like, yeah, Shedinja is not worth keeping. The only time I think that Shedinja might be used with Terastallizing is purely into VGC, because you do, see a significant amount of Shedinja, well, okay, not significant amount of Shedinja in VGC, but you do see a Shedinja presence occasionally within VGC when the big box art legendaries start coming out. So it might see a bit of a thing in VGC, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. You know, Shedinja, maybe. Oh, I forgot to do that. Yeah, it changes the typing into the typing. You do make appearance and it turns them into the Terra type effect. During a Terra Orb, betrays Pokemon with your Jewel appear on the Pokemon's head. Terraslize Pokemon identify the Terra type. When Terraslize Pokemon receive a boost that matches the Terra type, receive additional type. You can only have one Terra type. Terra type left in the end of battle. Terra Orb boosts all energy, must be recharged. Unless, like, there's something new that got posted about it today. Unless something new about it got posted today. Because, like, all the information they had was previously that it turn your type. Specializes by increasing the power of any type, same type to activate transformation. For example, equals normal type, but other equals flying. Each Pokemon has a Terra type. Inactive, at which point... Yeah, it says for each Pokemon has a Terra type. A Pokemon's Terra type is inactive until the Pokemon terrestrializes. At which point the Pokemon's type will change to its Terra type. So, unless the Pokemon Wiki... not the Pokemon Wiki. Unless, like, the official Pokemon page on Pokemon.com is incorrect in its translation, it does convert your typing into a monotype. Oh, wait, right, I forgot. I'm out of moves. I need to switch out to the other thing. I need to swap out the thing. Oh, yeah, right. Salamas is going to go down anyway because the struggle. Okay, that's something else. Well, again, the thing about Shedinja is that, like, Shedinja is... I think Shedinja is going to be a non-factor. The main reason why is that the main issue Shedinja has is that it still only has 1 health, and you're either gonna, like, consume your health item on either, like, you're gonna consume your health item on, like, Sash or Safety Goggles, at which point, like, status will screw over Shedinja and completely body it out of existence. Yeah, that's the other thing, is I'm honestly not gonna be surprised if they just do not include Shedinja in Scarlet Violet, purely because, yeah, Terrasilize and Shedinja could be a little exploitable. Because that's one of the other reasons why they're not going to ever be bringing in, like, the agile style, strong style mechanics from Legends into the main games. There exists far too much possibility for exploitation in pure mechanics for those two things. Like, hey, Doze Gaming, how are you doing? Been a while, how have you been? Well, like, that's, like, the main issue with, you know, bringing, agile style, strong style into the main games. Is you need to balance the ability of, you know, Pokemon to be able to, you know, get, you know, agile style be effective in the actual thing. At the same time, you need to also consider the possibility of people bringing, you know, max speed, Scarf, Tailwind, some will get to +6, Regieleki. You know, will Regieleki just get, like, you know, 4 moves, like, you know, 2 or 3 attacks just every turn because it's just so ridiculously fast? Or do they, you know, really reduce the ability of strong style, agile style things to come into effect? At which point all games just operate the normal way we have Pokemon games play, and at which point fundamentally agile style, strong style has no input. Or it just goes into, well, there's no penalty for using strong style outside of just double PP consumption, but you're doing even more damage. You know, it's that the exploitability of certain things will oftentimes override things like that, where, yeah, it's too easy to exploit certain things. That's the reason why there is no PvP mode for Legends. I'm doing quite well, Rough Toast. I'm doing very well. But yeah, like, that's the main thing, is, like, yeah, Shedinja is, I feel, gonna be a non-factor with respect to, I feel like Shedinja is gonna be a non-factor, and, like, I feel like when it comes to Shedinja, it's half people, like, throwing memes out there about Shedinja because they just think, like, oh yeah, it's funny, you know, Shedinja can do all this kind of crazy, you know, janky BS, in a lot of, like, the same vein that, like, the absurd Shuckle damage calculation is, where, practically speaking, this will never work. You know, practically speaking, this is never going to be possible. It's like a fun numbers calculation, but realistically it won't happen. And I think, like, that's a bit what's going on with the Shedinja thing, where we, you know, as players, want to almost imagine Shedinja being, you know, this kind of, like, a mythical, overpowered thing that can just do all this ridiculous, crazy stuff. So then, you know, we create memes about it. But the problem with that being, over time, you know, or even, you know, just, like, immediately, it misrepresents, you know, a joke about a certain thing that people take significantly more seriously and think it is legitimately going to be this dominant and this powerful, when in all practical terms, it's not even going to be close because there's just so many other ways of dealing with it that, you know, just don't get brought up because it's a meme. You're never going to bring up, you know, oh yeah, but it's never going to actually be that great. And, you know, we see, you know, Tyranitar is great in doubles. We see, you know, just weather in general is great for doubles. Residual damage is just great in doubles, and that, you know, something that like, utterly destroys Shedinja. I think that, realistically speaking, even if Shedinja does get access to Terrasilize, because the other thing we don't know is, can every Pokemon get every single type to Terrasilize with, or does everything only get, you know, a few Terra types? Like, you know, maybe things only get, you know, their same attack bonus Terra types, and then, like, one for counter coverage, you know, like we saw with Tyranitar, you know, maybe it gets only Ghost, Dark, and Rock, you know, Ghost to cover up its, you know, crippling because of fighting, or can they get every single, has the ability to get every single typing been confirmed? Because the thing is, and that immediately brings into question them saying, you know, the special flying Pikachu, you know, the special, you know, flying Terra-type Pikachu. That immediately obsoletes that entire thing of, okay, well, this isn't a special Pikachu. This Pikachu, you know, Pikachu can get every single Terra type, so why is this flying Terra type Pikachu so special anymore? Okay, so everything can get it. Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's okay. Then that immediately makes the whole thing that they were saying about, you know, the special flying Pikachu immediately makes no sense, because they said it was going to be some, you know, special Terra type Terrasilize flying Pikachu. Okay, well, every Pikachu can get Terra type flying now. So what's the point? What's the point of this special Pikachu? Which makes no sense to me. Like, okay, so why would you advertise this thing being special to immediately a couple of months later say, yeah, oh yeah, it's not actually that special? Well, I'm pretty sure Pikachu is going to just be able to learn flying normally these days. Like, I mean, granted, it could be that, you know, it has, you know, fly as a special move, which could be a thing. That could be what it is, because I don't think that Pikachu gets fly anymore, you know, normally speaking, but I mean, they could make it some way, but I mean, again, it remains to be seen, you know, how they're going to work everything out, but I'm not really sure if they're going to do anything. Again, we don't know all the idiots. I mean, for all we know, it could be, oh yeah, you should like an item that changes it, or oh yeah, you like specially breed for it. The one thing, I mean, I hope it's going to be an item that allows you to change the Terra typings, or the funny thing is that, we mentioned this a little bit earlier, is that realistically speaking, almost every Pokemon is just going to prefer to use their base typings as Terra types, just because the damage boost is going to be too worth it. That if you're, you know, reducing your attacking power, you know, well, if you're, you know, reducing your changing your type combination, because again, one of the main things that makes a lot of Pokemon great is their, you know, their natural type combination. Well, if you change that type combination, like, the utility of that typing is now completely lost. And a lot of, like, the utility that Pokemon has subsequently is also lost. Meaning, most likely they're going to prefer their Terra typings, as well as, you know, as mentioned before, just like weather users. You know, weather teams in general, they're not going to want to change out their Terra types for something else, as a defensively speaking. The level Kyogre Emerald can't touch it, this one card. I mean, yeah, that's one of the reasons why, like, a lot of Nuzlockers try to go out for it. A lot of things late game cannot touch Shedinja. That'll be better. I don't think it's realistically. Well, the thing is, realistically, it isn't gonna matter, because we know that Terra Blast, it's either physical or special depending on whichever stat is higher. So it's gonna benefit them all equally. But as mentioned a little bit ago, Terrasilizing is 99.99999% of the time just going to be used to bolster your own offensive power. So, you know, have like a water type in the rain. It's a rain sweeper. Just double down on Terrasilizing to water type for even more water type damage. Calyrex Ghost, Terrasilize to Ghost for even more Astral Barrage damage or Glacial Lance damage. You know, even, you know, just regular Pokemon, Terrasilize boosts your damage even more. So, why would you lose your good typing that, you know, generally gives a lot of the Pokemon the utility, and then, you know, for something else that just doesn't give you the same amount of utility, and doesn't, you know, have as good of a move pool dedicated to it. Hey, Litsune, how you doing? But yeah, most of the time, things are going to end up just being likely using the regular base typings as their paratypes. Purely down to the defensive benefits are never going to be outweighed. Like, this is the main issue almost everything in Pokemon will ever struggle with when it comes to like a new mechanic. There is next to no reason to add a thing on your team for defensive utility that compromises an offensive benefit, because the offensive benefit will always outweigh it. You know, there is almost no potential for a mechanic to be envisioned defensively where, in practicality, the offensive benefits it applies will not be better unless the mechanic is specifically designed to, you know, increase your defenses. But the problem is, in the end, as we saw from something like Dynamaxing, where it does boost your HP to make you more tanky, what it comes down to is people using the biggest, beefiest attack that they can to do as much Dynamax damage as possible. So in the end, even a defensive boost will be much better used on an attacker than on a defender. Which is the problem of any new mechanic, where there is no defensive utility that can outweigh the offensive utility. And that's like the main issue that Terastallizing is always going to run into. Purely down to, offensively, it's just going to be too good. Yeah, I feel like if they just made it so that, yeah, Terra types, you know, Terastallizing doesn't increase your base same attack bonus damage, then yeah, we would see defensive utility being used on it more, but not... You'd still see a lot of things doubling down for, you know, their own typing. You know, maybe they'll just shed a problematic sub-typing, which there are Pokemon that do have problematic sub-typings, so like it increases their ability. So Pokemon will become hyper-offensive, losing a negative type up here, Dark Type Grantor, less weakness. Exactly. Exactly there, Mantine Matt. That is exactly what I mean. In the end, you will get some Pokemon that will shed a problematic typing that packs on weaknesses to enhance their abilities in other aspects. Like, you know, Tyranitar, again, perfect example. Tyranitar, that is not weak to water, that is not weak to grass, that is not weak, doubly so, to fighting, that is not weak to the very common Earthquake, that is not weak to Steel. That is like everything Tyranitar could have ever dreamed of, and then they're gonna give it to that. Then you've got, you know, things like, again, like Kyogre, which is gonna double down ridiculously so into, you know, Terastallized water. You're gonna have the double damage from Terastallize paired up with your ability, you know, paired up with your natural attack bonus, on top of the rain, to deal like 3 times base damage even before type effectiveness comes into consideration. That is horrifying amounts of power, and, you know, you stack that on to things like Origin Pulse. What are you going to do at that point? At that point, what can you even do? The answer is nothing. Because that's how Savage and Power is. That's one of the reasons why I'm hoping that they're going to do what they did with Dynamaxing or various VGC series, where you just, yeah, for this VGC series, we're not going to have Terastallizing be permitted. But hey, Gayla, how are you doing? I mean, I think it's going to be everything. I think 99% of Pokemon are going to go pure hyper-aggressive with Terastallizing. Most of those are going to be dropping a problematic subtype. Like, I think Garchomp. Garchomp is going to shed its, you know, dragon typing. At which point, it's no longer weak to the very common fairy. It's no longer weak to the mirror match of, you know, other dragons. And yes, it packs on, you know, now it's weak to water, now it's weak to grass. But considering what's more common, grass types and water types, or dragon fairy types, one of those is substantially more common than the other, and considering Garchomp's main thing was generally being a very fast Earthquake user, yeah, it's likely going to go that way. So again, just example for Garchomp. Again, there are going to be some where, like, you know, again, subtyping is still quite useful, like Gyarados. Immunity to Earthquake is, you know, quite a good thing, but that packs on weakness to Stealth Rocks, packs on double weakness to electric, remove the weakness to grass, but again, is grass that big of an issue? I don't think so. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I'm most interested in seeing, you know, Terrastallize, is I'm looking forward. I'm very hyped for Scarlet Violet. Nice. Very nice, Kayla. Pokemon Theater can Terrastallize, that means transform. Get access to it. See, I think the wording of that... So you gotta remember, the trailer we get is a translated version of the script the original Japanese version is. And I think most likely that's a bit of a translation error, and I think more so it's going to be Pokemon in the region. Yeah, but I think, like, yeah, Pokemon like any Pokemon located within the region can do that, because, you know, as we saw from, you know, yeah, anything you can transfer in, they can Dynamax. So it's not like a unique, you know, restricted to only that region sort of thing, and I don't think they're gonna do that, because remember, you gotta know, like, people do transfer in their Pokemon from other previous games. I think it's going to allow Pokemon transferred in from previous games to be capable of Terrastallizing. If it doesn't allow them, I think that's gonna be a big issue. Like, that I would say is a bit worthy of backlash. One of the main reasons why is that, yeah, people, you know, transfer them from older games, and even in, you know, Shield and Sword itself, one thing that they did is they have a specific NPC whose entire function is to clear prior gen things for, you know, legal competitive usage. You know, it removes all previous. Okay, this thing is cleared for usage in these games now. If it has any legacy moves, they can't use those, but now, boom, transfer the game. This thing is cleared for usage in this game now. You can use it as you please. Which is why I think that it's a translation thing of, it just means Pokemon located in the region, as in, like, maybe, like, species that are accessible are capable of doing it. Not, it has to be specifically captured or bred in this region in order to have it. I don't realistically see that kind of an exclusion happening. You know, like, it's... Being an NPC is one of the right cosmetic... I don't get it. I don't understand. I mean, I'm not a fanfiction guy. My stance is all fanfiction is bad fanfiction. That is my policy. Oh, NPC. Oh, I see now. Okay. Sorry, I'm frequently oblivious. I am frequently oblivious, as you can see. Right then. The pun Master Supreme is bad at getting other puns. Yeah. But yeah, we're getting close to odds. Like, yeah, this is annoying. Like, I mean, I mentioned before, I don't really mind if this one goes over odds too much. Again, main reason is that this is a significantly quicker hunt than, you know, say Amora, which was just annoying with how long it took to get encounters, so I don't really mind if this one goes over odds too heavily. But yeah, it's, realistically speaking, I think that this is going to be a quick one. I don't think we're going to go to the same level of episodes that it took us to get the Amora shiny, just because Amora was an anomaly with how much wasted time. With how much time was just absolutely wasted with just running around the area trying to get them. That was the annoying part. But now, of course, you know, it's much easier to get access to the Tyrantrum encounters. That I don't think it's going to take nearly that. And also, I love Duraludon's walk cycle. Like, Duraludon's walk cycle amuses me. The Waddle run is very, very amusing. Duraludon's a good boy. Duraludon is a good boy. We enjoy Duraludon. Whichever takes a form, whichever has higher stat, what stats, so gets higher or lower. Yep. Honestly, it seems like a nightmare to anyone in the Pokemon game. I have 80 different types. Not going to take time. We would have been another. So what's the form of which is higher stats? What if the stats are the same or the Pokemon gets a stat boost or low? I think it goes based on natural stat. So I don't think it considers modifiers for determining which it is. And I know from Photon Geyser, that's what it is. Not Prismatic Laser. It's Photon Geyser. It's not base stats. It goes on natural stats. If the natural stats are the same, the moves have a default status, category for typing. Like again, examples: Photon Geyser. You know, Photon Geyser. If your attack and if your physical attack and your special attack for Necrozma are identical, the move is default special, so it will default into being special if your stats are the same. Stat modification through, stat stage increases, those I do not think will alter it. It might. I don't think they do. I remember reading something about it. I don't think they do. The only thing I think might change what it is if you use something like Power Split. I keep getting Power Swap and Power Split confused because they look very similar for the moves, but they do very different things. One swaps stages, one actually changes your stats. I think that is the only thing that might change it, but I also think it might be hard locked in when the battle starts which category it is. I know that there is some way to determine if it is a tie. It will, I believe, go to one or the other. And actually, let's check right now. Photon Geyser. There we go. Okay. Because, I mean, granted, Sidearm Shell and Photon Geyser do operate the same way. Let's see. For determining which stat is higher. Stat stage amount. Okay, stat stage amount. Okay, for that. But other effects, how that ends choice band, huge power are not. Okay. So, for Light That Burns for Photon Geyser, Necrozma's thing, it does go based on stat modification. For determines that higher than are taken into account, but other effects tell that it does not. If you use a higher stat, Photon Geyser becomes physical. Otherwise, you specify is greater or equal. Yes! It is the natural category determines it. It only deals with true stats, not base stats. One of the main reasons why is that if it does go by base stats, well then that completely screws over people who, want to change things. But also, some do have, identical base stats. Let's go Sidearm Shell. Sidearm. Slow bro, okay. Let's check with Sidearm Shell. Let's see. Analogy. Oh, Shell Sidearm. Okay. Get a special. 20 chance. We can put the target. Sidearm Shell. Whether the category would inflict more damage. Chooses randomly if they're tied. Okay, so Sidearm Shell is different. Okay. Even if you've never played the Mario games, it's gonna be good. Like base stats. It goes by true stats. It goes by true stats, not base stats. What the difference between them is, you see base stats, but these are your true stats. So whichever one was higher, it would go with of these stats. Base stats do not matter. The true stats are the only thing that matters when it comes to consideration like that. Well, going based on either or both of Sidearm Shell, Shell Sidearm. Apparently, I was saying the name wrong the entire time. And Photon Geyser is most likely they're gonna make it be special normally, but again, if they're tied, well, it's gonna be special. Get a Pokemon with a normally higher base. So if you had a Pokemon with a normally higher base attack, but you want Terra to be special Pokemon, you would EV train. Yes, that is exactly true, Dragonclaw. You would use EV training and or natures to make the one stat higher than the other. That's the exact way that people get the desired Hitmon evolution, is they just use natures and or EVs to get the desired stat. But yeah, that's pretty much how it would operate. And one of the reasons why I think it's going to just default to being special, but if your stats are identical, it'll default to being special, but otherwise it's just going to go with the higher one. Again, like Shell Sidearm is a bit of an awkward, wonky one where it operates very differently. But yeah, just going based on Photon Geyser, which I think more realistically is likely the, template, so to speak. Yeah, I think it's going to be more of just, it's going to basically do what Photon Geyser does, where if it's higher special attack, it's going to go with special attack. If it's higher physical, it's going to go physical. If it's high, it's just going to default to special, because it's called Terra Blast, Blast doesn't generally, be a physical sounding move. Just the kind of thing. But yeah, again, we don't know how it's going to operate. It could operate completely differently, but I mean, granted, I go based on patterns. Based on, okay, this is what historically things that are similar have done. Let's see how it operates in the thing. But yeah, I think that honestly having a Terrestrialize somewhat replace Hidden Power, I think that's a good thing. The main reason why is that it absolutely screws you over if you want to counter coverage. Here's the main thing about, if you're using a Terrestrialized type like you're using Hidden Power. One of the main things was you wanted an electric type to have, Hidden Power Ice to deal with, ground type and stuff like that. But you want it to retain its, good electric type damage properties. Now, if you want to replicate that, you need to completely give up all of your electric type utility to now be able to counter coverage ground types. At which point, well, now you can destroy ground types, but you don't have any real way of doing any of the things that an electric type, was good for doing electric type things. And I think that's the real reason why, you're not going to really see Terrestrialize be anything other than its base typing naturally. Because it comes at a big alteration of the fundamentals of how the thing operates rather than just, just a counter coverage. Which I'm completely okay with. Because I hated Hidden Power as a mechanic. I thought it was the most obnoxious thing in the world. And really made special attackers way better than physical attackers when they already were pretty much better than physical attackers. It just, further pushed them into being too much better. So anything that, takes Hidden Power's annoyance down, 20 pegs, I'm okay with. I'm completely okay with that. And that is my policy. But yeah, I mean, I was never a big fan of Hidden Power. I always felt it gave things too perfect of coverage. The point of having a full team is so that one Pokemon can't, unilaterally destroy everything. But, you give a Pokemon that's typing his body to buy, a thing with a specific weakness, you give it, that Hidden Power, well, now it can basically just obsolete that weakness. And not completely, but I remember I had never seen so many Pokemon of a specific typing carrying a Hidden Power until I saw Fairy types, where, almost all of them, recommended Hidden Power, Fire, or, Hidden Power Fire, Hidden Power Ground. They recommended all of them, on all of them. And, yeah. This isn't problematic at all. It's a good concept. It's not too great. Pokemon have smaller pool of Terra types per mon. You can swap out one type for mono Terra type. Yeah. I still think Terra type is a better... I think Terra typing is a much better solution for the Hidden Power thing. Because now it actually makes a much steeper cost to... Is it really worth counter covering this thing? Because then you gotta, think. Say, you have this electric attacker that, the electric type that you really want to use on your team to use electric typey things. But, oh, you have a ground type. Well, yeah, I can just, hammer you with, Hidden Power Ices and, preserve my really, really good, electric type utility. Well, I bring out my, I bring out my ground type early in the fight before your electric type can do its electric typey things. So now what are you gonna do? Are you gonna recall your Pokemon and waste a turn, give me the advantage, give me the initiative? Or are you gonna Terastallize, lose your electric type utility, and basically be just an ice type? To just take out one Pokemon, at which point you have compromised the entire purpose of that Pokemon on the team. And I like that, because that comes at a very substantial risk to your own team. But the other problem with it is that, yeah, it just puts way more focus on, yeah, it's not worth having defensive Terastallizing. It's worth to just go all-out offense, which is a big problem in my opinion, because it's fundamentally a repeat of the issues of Megas, Z-moves, and Dynamaxing. But also, again, guys, please do not forget to leave a like on the stream and subscribe if you have not done so, and if you guys are new, you guys are the ones that keep all this stuff up and going. It would be amazing for mono-type ice types. Ice Titan, it would be amazing to swap little animals. See, I'm not sure about that. Because you gotta remember, what is its move pool going to be like? What is its move pool going to be like? And how strong will Terra Blast even be? Like, I can't realistically see a move like Terra Blast having more than, like, 70 base power. I could see it being stronger than Hidden Power, to compensate for, the type change. But I can't realistically go be like 110 power, like a 90 base power move. Maybe 80 base power I could see at the absolute most, but I don't see it being too overly strong. We did a mono-type thing with Terra type now. What is that type thing? Well, I don't do mono-types. I don't do mono-types, so I really can't, really say that. I think that's more of an individual, I consider this typing because it turns into this typing, or I consider this typing because it is initially this typing. It comes down to what your, individual perspective on that is. Because I know when it comes to, type locks, for Nuzlocke, if you're doing, say, a dark type lock, people will consider, Litten is usable in a type lock as a Litten because it eventually turns into a dark type. So people in that camp would say, yeah, well, it becomes this typing, so it is, to have a Terra type that is of the typing, it's eligible for a mono-type team. But then there's, the purists where, it has to be Terra type and mono type have to be the same. Or, yeah, it could be the same starting, the mono type has to be in its starting typing, but could have a Terra type of any type. There's multiple different ways you could look at it, and realistically, it comes down to anyone's individual perspective. There is no right answer, in my opinion, on that. General, cause you have a Terra type, get stabbed, but 100% I think will take bad types away, going to hyper offense. Yeah, it is exactly what it is going to be, Mantine. Like, I've been talking with a lot of the people who, like, they play high-tier VGC and, like, high-tier competitive things, and all of them, the smart money is what I like to call them, because, like, they are the ones that know the most about the metagame's idiosyncrasies. All of them are saying, you're gonna double down on offense. There is no defensive utility that Terastallize has that an offensive thing just doesn't benefit more. Go back to the weather example. Rain Sweepers with Swift Swim, while Rain is active, that double down Terastallize water. The amount of damage that is going to do is just kind of absurd. Even, terrains to a more minor degree. The reason why the terrains don't boost power as much and don't affect flying types or levitate, so there are ways around it. There's that problem. But then there's also things, like Azumarill, I think could be a bit of a problem. Main reason, like, again, huge power. Azumarill does hit pretty hard, and, it could Terastallize in either water or Terastallize into Fairy, both of which are very, very good typings. But yeah, again, it's most of the time it's going to come down to offensive benefits. Yeah, Tyranitar is, like, Tyranitar is the minority example where it will simultaneously gain a big offensive and a big defensive boost. Most of the others will have a very negligible boost to their defenses. Like, there are some that will definitely, like, enjoy the defensive boost they get. Say, you know, Magnezone. You know, maybe it loses its steel typing and it's pure electric. Well, now it doesn't have to worry about fighting types, doesn't have to worry about fire types, doesn't have to worry about ground as much. And in general, it doesn't really lose all that much utility on offense. It does a little bit on defense, though, but you don't have to worry about certain weaknesses anymore. But yeah, like, you're almost never gonna see a purely defensive Terrastalize benefit, a purely defensive Terrastalize decision. Like, for much of the exact same reason that you never really saw people bring the defensive Mega Evolutions or defensive Z moves or defensive Dynamaxes. The defensive benefits do not matter. You do not, like, the boosts can be far better applied as an offensive enhancement than a defensive enhancement. It's not great. Yeah, Kamo, I definitely. Like, I think Komodo might be one of the few where it will probably Terrastalize defensively. One of the reasons for that is it naturally has, like, a very good ability in, like, bulletproof and soundproof. Both of them are actually quite good abilities. And based on things like that, like, you can tailor its Terrastalize typing. It also has a quite good move pool. And its two other typings, you know, they have, like, their big drawbacks. But I think Komodo might have a defensive one more than most, but it's never going to outweigh its offensive benefits. I mean, I think most Terra-type, I mean, best fit Terra-type, I think it's just going to be the same type as their normal stab. Like, I think, you know, Terra-type Snorlax, I think the best one is just going to be normal. Because you gotta remember, Snorlax is already a quite beefy Pokemon as is, and it learns a lot of very good normal moves. It also only has one weakness naturally. Well, almost any other typing will add on more weaknesses, and it probably isn't going to learn moves of those typing, as is, you already go over, Terrastalizing into your own natural stab boosts your same type of attack bonus damage. You know, you get, I believe it is a 50%, you go from a 50% damage boost to it just doubles your damage that you do. So instead of a 150% damage modifier, it's a 200% damage modifier. Which means it's, like, functionally adaptability, which is terrifying. Because then you have something that's as bulky as Snorlax, you know, throwing out, you know, double damaging body slams, you know, that have a chance of paralysis. Like, that's kind of terrifying. Going native dual type becomes super offensive with lag. Exactly, like, that's exactly, like, it's the ability to do that puts so much more pressure on offensive potential than defensive. And that's what scares me. Like, again, there are some where I feel, yeah, the Terrastalizing is going to benefit them if in a defensive sort of way. Like, I could see, you know, Dialga, you know, Terrastalizing in, like, just pure steel. I could realistically see that. You know, I could realistically see, Giratina maybe sheds its dragon type to just become pure ghost. You know, those are things I could realistically see happening, but that's because those are already very good Pokemon with very good stat spreads and very good moves that just shed a potential weakness. I don't think that you're going to want to get rid of those on like, Scizor and Gyarados. Like, we were actually talking a bit about Gyarados earlier, Dragonclaw. Gyarados, I'm not sure on. The reason why is that, yes, it gives you a double weakness to Electric. It also, you know, it also does give you a weakness to Rock, but it gives you an immunity to Ground and Grounded Hazards, which are quite prominent in singles. And even in doubles, you know, Earthquake's a fairly common thing. So, you know, not being able to, you know, get chipped by that. The other thing of is, you know, Gyarados actually slots in quite well on, you know, a team that, you know, likes to spam Earthquake. You're not going to Terrastalize away your flying type, just go pure water, when your partner is spamming out Earthquakes. you know, you're going to want to keep that immunity to that ground type. So Gyarados, I feel, is like a bit of an edge case, where there is reason for one over the other. Who has one weakness, even though it's not for buzzy? Yeah, like Scizor, I think, is, again, like Scizor, like an anomaly where I don't think Scizor's ever gonna want to terrestrialize. Like, the only thing I think Scizor would ever want to terrestrialize for is like doubling down on absurd bullet punch damage, where like you double down and, you know, yeah, you terrestrialize Steel for, you know, priority bullet punch technician, which, yeah, that's, you know, horrifying amounts of power that it will have there, because you gotta remember, you've got, you know, now the double damage, so now bullet punch is functionally an 80 base power move, now boosted by, you know, technician to 120 base power move effectively. That's terrifying. Like, that is a scary thought, you know, for Scizor's power. I feel Scizor's a bit less situational for one, but I still feel it's a very heavily situational. I mean, if you're doing like Choice Banded Scizor just spamming bullet punch, yeah, I think that you're fine to terrestrialize into pure Steel for, you know, the boosted bullet punches. But if, you know, you're not doing that, well, it doesn't really matter at that point. But yeah, like, I think Scizor's singular weakness is a bigger boon than it is a hindrance, because yes, it means, you know, it takes neutral damage from things like rock, it takes neutral damage from, you know, fighting, it takes neutral damage from flying, and a couple of other things, but it also means it's not weak to ground, it's not weak to fighting. It's, you know, not weak to a couple of these things that are relatively common and quite problematic. So I think, like, Scizor's a bit of an anomaly. Like, I would realistically see things like, oh yeah, terrestrialize fire, Scarf, Typhlosion with Eruption. Like, that would be terrifying. That's nightmare-inducing right there. But yeah, like, again, I feel Weather is going to be, like, the most powerful, but there's going to be, like, some priority users, I definitely feel. Yeah, it barely, again, gets all the benefits, barely any negatives. All benefits, no negatives. Like, that's one of the reasons why, like, a great example of that is, what's his name? Calyrex Shadow Rider. Like, Calyrex Shadow Rider's biggest issue, its psychic typing is good? Question mark. It doesn't really add much in terms of, like, offense, but, like, yeah, it can use, you know, psychic for, you know, good amount of power, but it doesn't really need it. So, you terrestrialize. You go terrestrialize, double down into the Ghost. You double the power of your Astral Barrage, you know, relatively a 50% boost you normally got. You lose your double weakness. So now, you know, you're not going to want to take a Sucker Punch, but if you invest in some defense, a non-stab, you know, Sucker Punch probably isn't going to one-shot you, and you're likely going to, and you're going to take any Shadow Sneak, you know, on the chin quite handily, and you'll just blow them out of the water easily. You're not going to have to worry about, you know, non-stab Dark and Ghost coverage moves, which no longer are hitting a pressure point in a double weakness, and you just absurdly boost the power of your Astral Barrages, so there's really not many negatives. Yeah, Mono Ghost is, again, better than having dual types, like Gengar. Like, Gengar is, you know, it can laugh at fairy types, because again, it is a poison type, so it can kind of laugh at fairy types. But realistically, yeah, I think would probably prefer to not have its poison type, because, okay, it's already resistant to poison. It's already resistant to bug. It's already immune to fighting. It's weak to ground. It's weak to psychic. Ghost is meant to counter psychic. You're probably going to want to shed that, you know, not very helpful subtyping, which, yes, you know, Sludge Bomb is quite good, but also a number of the very, well, then again, you know, Sludge Bomb actually is more powerful than Shadow Ball, so there is that, which definitely can play, but a lot of, like, the good Psychic types are also part Fairy, which means, okay, well, Poison Psychic, Poison Ghost, against Fairy Psychic. You know, still, you have a type advantage over the enemy Pokemon, and you don't have a weak, you don't have a weak gun, now you're taking, you know, neutral damage from, Fairy, but you're also only taking neutral damage from Psychic when you're a Glass Cannon. Every little bit of damage reduction does really, really, really greatly help. Like, there's that. I think that part's like, yeah, it would just boost up the power of your Shadow Ball to just do even more damage, at which point, yeah, the loss of the Poison Super Effect, less power, doesn't actually matter that much. I mean, you're also going to see, it benefit things. I think, there are some Pokemon where defensively it will benefit now. There are definitely cases where it will benefit defensively, but primarily it's going to be the offensive benefit is going to outweigh, pardon the pun, actually no, don't pardon the pun, never pardon the puns, will massively outweigh the defensive benefits. There's no defensive advantage it gains that is not just outweighed by an offensive one, and that's the main issue that I think Terastallizing is going to run into, that the devs don't consider because they're not min-maxers. Like, that I think is realistically the only issue Pokemon has, is when it comes to developing a lot of the battle gimmicks, they consider things from a more common player standpoint without really considering what is the logical extreme that players will take this to. And yeah, players will take them to the logical extremes and see just how far and how much they can get out of it. And, they might come up with a concept for a new thing, thinking, oh yeah, well, it's a defensive benefit. People are going to, use this to take hits better and, survive longer. Except, if it does anything to increase your damage or, just increase longevity, well, all it's going to end up doing is just making offensive things just even more aggressive. Because, for example, say you have a Pokemon that is ridiculously glassy, but it has, a way of boosting its defenses or just boosting its bulk enough to survive a hit. Survive more than like 2 or 3 hits. Survive, say, more than 2 hits to live, 4 turns. Okay. Well, if you add on, extra survivability, well, extra survivability for a tank or a wall doesn't really help them all that much. They don't really get as much per unit usage out of that benefit as an attacker does. You got an attacker around there for an extra turn, you can put out so much more pressure. That's one of the reasons why you would see a lot of very aggressive Dynamax plays when Dynamaxing was, it's still allowed for things. It was just far better to use an aggressive Dynamax than a more passive defensive Dynamax. And even then, if you had a more defensive Dynamax pick, well, you're probably going to slap a weakness policy on that Pokemon, like Togekiss, Metagross, even, like, Lapras. You would see, like, just slapping on a weakness policy, and, well, these things are defensive normally, Rhyperior, they're defensive normally, but we just boost their offenses into absurdity and make them even more defensive. They can just get out even more aggressive power. It all comes down to players maximize offensive pressure, and I think that's the big thing devs do not fully grasp, the extent to which players will go for absurdity in offense. How much the community is competitive, how much is casual. More casuals, it would make more sense to thought with process of less players. Well, the thing is, the casual audience is the significantly larger majority. I mean, I generally throw out like this, this is what I generally say for the number of players that, are competitive, like the official competitive, VGC competitive. I generally, it's less than 1% of, like, maybe, it's less than, like, 1% of, like, 10%. So it's, like, 0.1%, I would say, is a generous overestimation of the competitive player base. But the problem you have to remember is that is the official, they still host official events. It would be like if a game had, an official subsection of it, but the game is made, for casual play, and they don't balance the competitive aspects. It will result in a competitive thing that is completely unfun and unenjoyable, and no one would enjoy playing it. As we have seen from, you know, many, many generations of previous Pokemon things, where stuff is meant for, you know, the casual audiences, which is, I will admit, the vastly larger audience. Almost every single Pokemon player, like, I would say, you know, almost every single Pokemon player is a casual player. They really don't care about competitive. You have a very, very tiny, tiny, tiny minority that, you know, does care about competitive, but when you have an official competitive that you are promoting, it doesn't behoove you to actively screw it over entirely. Like competitive, better trailer, water terror type, colossal with steam ability without the drawback. Well, that is true, but see, here's the thing about Colossal, is that a lot of people, like, well, again, this came on the heels of Santino when he ran the Colossal, was the big draw for Colossal was Steam Engine weakness policy. That was the big draw for Colossal, and with the loss of its ability to Dynamax, get Steam Engine, and get weakness policy all at one time, Colossal will fall off a cliff. Like, it's the same thing with, a lot of people project the same thing with Lapras, where the Gigantamax Lapras was what gave Lapras a lot of competitive utility offensively when it came to VGC and just, you know, Generation 8 in general. The loss of that, it's gonna just drop off a cliff and just never really reappear because the weakness policy enabled the Dynamax play to be very aggressive, and you don't have the bulk naturally to take a very aggressive weakness policy proccing hit and, you know, safely keep on going. So I think, you know, Colossal, its time is done. Like, Colossal had its time in the sun with Santino during Shield and Sword with the weakness policy, Surf, Gigantamax, and it was great. But when you take away the Gigantamax and you both Dynamax in general, it's not really going to be able to keep going, because at that point, well, you're going to have, well, yeah, you can't really get weakness policy anymore, because if you hit it with a water move, it's basically going to kill it in one hit. It's just that cripplingly weak to water. I'm saying more Terra type plays like that with maybe. That's fair point. That's fair point. But yeah, like the main thing that Colossal had was it was a weakness policy user. Because you gotta remember, when it came to Colossal, like the Colossal that was, you know, the Colossal people remember seeing. That is a Colossal with +2 to both offensive stats and a +6 speed. You know, that is the ability for other Colossal to ever reach that is likely never going to happen. You know, it is highly unlikely that it is highly unlikely you will ever be able to replicate that level of effectiveness for a Colossal usage outside of considering the Dynamax. Like, because the other thing you gotta remember is the, you know, Colossals that were, you know, were heavily used. Those both had 2-turn charge moves. Like, they had Meteor Beam and they had, generally, many of them would go, a number of them would go Solar Beam. Some would go Earth Power, but, you know, at that point you're dealing with, you know, a move like Overheat, Meteor Beam, and Earth Power. Like, you're not really dealing with a good move set, and, you know, you're dealing with you'd be dealing with a Colossal that's at less than half the power it's known for being at, and it's gonna completely cripple it. Hey, dear Light Azalea, how you doing? I'm glad to see my crazy stuff with I think that there's gonna be a lot of fun that you can have with Terra typings. I just think in the end it's all gonna come down to I just want to have my thing punch you harder. I think in the end that's all Terra types are gonna come down to, with just mostly playing. That's one of the reasons why I said, like, if they wanted to make Terra types, like, not ridiculously dominant and oppressive, they shouldn't have added in it boosts your offensive power if you're using a Terra type of one of your base stabs. Because that is what would definitively turn into an offensive boosting mechanic. rather than, you know, any defensive utility. But also, again, guys, please do not forget to leave a like on the stream if you haven't done so already. We're going to be ending off in a bit. We are going to be ending off, of course, you know, when we hit odds. So we have 6 more encounters to go do. But, yeah, it's been pretty good. It's been good. Hopefully you guys have had a good day. I know I have. I know I certainly have had a good day. And always great to see you. Most I have, yeah, oddball strats. Yeah, but again, that's the thing. I don't really think there's gonna be a number of like, I don't want to say like viable oddball strats, but I think like a lot of accessible oddball strats, I guess, is like the best way of phrasing it. Where I think long term, like the oddballs, I think, gonna be very hard to develop because I think most people aren't going to work on developing like a kernel of an idea for it. So you're gonna have like all like these disjointed things that can't really refine the idea, the oddball idea, into a much more like cohesive idea. And it's gonna be kind of like, you know, just like shooting in the dark for a long time. But with this, we are getting closer to odds. But yeah, I think that like the oddball strategies are gonna be very hard to just like come up with an idea for, just because there's not going to be as much oddball oddity experimentation, and that's going to, you know, segue into just overall, in general, being hard to come up with, you know, strategies in general that will be oddball and outside the norm. But yeah, I mean, again, I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong on that, because I would like to see the game not just devolve into a hyper-aggressive mess of, you know, my thing just punches you harder than you punch me, which big worries me. Really, really worries me that that's gonna be the case, because I know what's gonna happen. But yeah. Alright, let's see who should go raid. Who's doing Pokemon stuff? Everyone's doing Mario. Oh yeah, everyone's doing like Mario stuff. Oh yeah, shiny rays. Oh, he's doing shiny rays. Okay. Yeah, he's doing shiny under J. Ah, that's what we have not raided shiny under. Actually, you know, we'll go raid shiny under J. We have not raided him in a very, very long time. Yes, meta is suffering, Mudkip. Meta is indeed always very much suffering. Because we're 3 encounters away from hitting odds on this stupid dinosaur. And it has the sparkle voice, yep. Yeah, this stupid dino doesn't want to sparkle. This stupid dino doesn't want to sparkle. Once meta sets out and people start coming with strategies, jumping out. I mean, I think out of the gate is actually going to be the most fun for like terrestrializing things. Because by the time the meta is more hammered out, everyone is going to know what the meta plays are going to be, and so everyone's just going to be, like, spamming them. So, like, you're going to have, you know, people just, like, spamming the meta terrestrializing things, and then it's going to be even harder to come up with, you know, janky, nonsense, fun strategies, because it's just such an oppressive environment around it. And I think that's... I mean, again, I could be wrong, but I think that's like, I mean, again, that's just what I believe is going to happen. Again, I could be completely off the ball. And yeah, that's the thing. So I have been, Squibba, you're annoying. Don't even joke about that, Mudkip. Do not even freaking joke about that. Because, like, I really do not want another massively over-odds hunt. I do not want another massively over-odds shiny. Like, I want this hunt to be done. Well, this has indeed officially taken longer than our Amora hunt. This has officially taken longer than our Amora hunt. And I don't like that it's officially taken longer than the Amora hunt. I really don't like that. I really don't like that it has taken longer. The main reason that I don't like it's taken longer comes down to, yeah, it's, I mean, well, okay, longer in the sense of just more encounters. It's still less time. It's still been a shorter overall shiny hunting experience than the, you know, stupid dinosaur with a long neck that was annoying and hated us. But yeah, we're gonna be ending off right after. Wait, no, I had 3 in the last one. So this was 4. Why do I keep mixing up my counter things? Yeah, the last one is gonna be the next one. There we go. But yeah, we are gonna go raid Shiny Hunter SJ. Like the more, yeah, you guys get, like, again, everyone other than me gets lucky with the shiny. Like, this is the thing about shiny hunting while live that I've noticed is you guys will get the shiny that I'm looking for at a substantially lower number of encounters. You know, case in point, to every single person that ended up getting a shiny of, like, any Dynamax Adventure Legendary I was hunting before I did. But, there we go. We have officially hit odds. You guys do not mind. Mechanized Max Spread. We're going to go over and give Shiny Hunter J, Shiny Hunter SJ, big Mechanized Maxis raid. I will see you guys next time. Let's rock and roll. And hope you all had a wonderful day. I certainly know I did, especially spending all with you guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you guys next time. Let's rock and roll.